Alright. Hello everyone, welcome to stream! This time I stayed away from the microphone the entire time, instead of moving very close to it, and then moving farther away. So perhaps the intro before I yelled was a little quieter. Think about that. Hello everybody, how are we doing today? What's the energy? What's the vibe? How are we doing this Saturday? It's a little, dreary outside, so I'm I woke up kind of tired, and then it's I kind of had a headache for a little while, and so I'm so I had to take my girl dinner so I could be okay. Hello, how are you? Your eardrums are safe? Excellent. Wonderful, brilliant. Ugh. You're done with school? My god, I'm so happy for you. I'm literally so happy for you. Get that out of here. Be done. Hello, how are we doing? What's the energy? Oh. Did I miss a pop-up? Dev. Thank you so much for the $10 dono. I appreciate you greatly. Oh! They gave me that message twice. Why did it do that? Regardless, thank you so much for the $10 dono. Oh, no, wait, you did $10 twice. Did you do $10 twice? That's crazy. Thank you for the $20 dono total, I suppose. Thank you so much. Donated twice by accident. Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry. But thank you. Burnt out from finals and still not done. You're almost there. I literally believe in you. You're almost there. You're almost there. All good. Keep it. Okay, thank you. $5 squared. Almost $5 squared. Almost. We're almost there. Have to give him his money back before you end up on a Google Doc. Oh, you're right. I actually do. I think I have to. You don't know what to do with yourself now? Time to draw. Time to draw and be awesome and epic. But yes, how have other than finals, I'm assuming most of you are doing finals right now, if you're in school. For finals for post-secondary, because I'm my brother finished his term last month, so he's been off for a little bit. He's been off for about a month at this point, so he's still asleep actually. So he's fully taking advantage of the fact that he doesn't need to be up early at all to do classes. Oh! Brain so! Why? I haven't even done anything yet! It's 5 minutes! It's been 5 minutes! What is this? Brinso, thank you for the $50 dono. Literally, how dare you? What the fuck? What the fuck? I haven't even done anything! I haven't even done that. I just like to hear Kirby scream. Okay. Fair enough. Thank you so much for the $50 dono immediately off the bat, which literally makes us, we're at 87.8% of the way. That makes us, hang on. No, I can do this math. That's $51. Nope, 50? $61 away from... Donate more, I don't want to be at the top. At $61 away from our goal, which if we reach our goal, for those who don't know, thank you. If we reach our goal, for those who don't know, we'll be doing an on-camera stream, so you won't have my little PNG tuber. Thank you, Quinn, for the $5. I appreciate you greatly. I haven't even finished my spiel. Wow, 444. That's a very unlucky number in Chinese culture. Which then leads us to $56 away from the dono goal, which again leads us to an on-camera stream of y'all's choosing, so I will have my camera on, $5. It will be on camera, and it'll be of your choosing. I was kind of deciding between either a critique stream where you guys submit beforehand, or we could do a Tomodachi live stream. We'll see what happens, I suppose. More importantly than the on-camera stream, you get your scoliosis treatment. True. I suppose that's also true. Oh yeah, it's for my scoliosis treatment. That's what it's for. My back is broken and horrible, and I hate it. So I need to get my treatment done so I can stand up straight again, properly. And I can walk for longer than 10 minutes without feeling like I'm going to die. But yeah. Yes. Wow. I'm like, I've been stun locked. I don't know what to, getting away with this. Almost done to school myself getting on the 20th. Good luck. I'm happy for you. But yes, today's stream was meant to be a tell your vertebrae to realign themselves now. That's what the chiropractor's gonna do. But yes, the goal of today's stream, like I haven't even said what we're doing today. I didn't even get to my entire groove has been thrown off completely. Today was meant to be a celebration for the fact that we've reached 1,000 subscribers on the channel. Thank you, everybody, by the way. Thank you so much for that. We have hit 1,000 subs, to which, once we get a certain amount of watch hours, then the channel will be monetized, and then I can do even more cool things for you guys. So then I can sink more time into the channel, and we can do more fun things. I might even add an extra day for streaming, who knows? But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yes, in honor of that, as like a thank you, we're gonna kind of harken back to the ye old days. We're gonna harken back to the other place. I decided to do. Oh, bitch! I wasn't even. No. But I had not even done the spell! I hadn't even... Fuck! Thank you, Bootleg, for the $66, which makes us $10 over our initial goal, which means that an on-camera stream is coming y'all's way. Thank you so much to all of you, and thank you for taking us a sign you walk too slow. Okay. Thank you. That means we have reached our goal of 500. You fucked up the math a little bit, yeah, but that's okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. I don't know what to... It's 10 minutes in a stream. What is it? And... I don't know what to say. Thank you. I'm bad at accepting. Thanks. I'm bad at accepting. Wait, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it greatly. Okay. Sorry, I'm so awkward. I literally become so awkward when, like, it's, like, when I have to, like, be, like, express gratitude. I'm bad at words of affirmation. Thank you. It's okay, D. We literally have done nothing, except for everybody deciding they wanted to beat the dono goal immediately before we got into any sort of stream already. Thank you, Brinso. Thank you, everybody. Thank you again. We'll say it again. Thank you to Bootleg for the 66. Thank you, Merquinary. Thank you, Quinn, for the $5. Thank you, Brinso, for the 50. Thank you, Dev, for the 20. I appreciate all of you very much, and I appreciate everybody else who donated before this, to help with the scoliosis treatment. Government name is crazy, I know. I'm just reading off the usernames, and I'm like, I know you people. But thank you all, very much for all of the assistance. I'll book my scoliosis treatment, I will. I'll book it for next week, so I can start my 12 weeks of chiropractor visits. We beat the heck out of the dono goal. It looked at me weird. I had to. Fair enough. That's funny. I like that. It means I can hide this bar now. So it scares me. I don't like it there. But thank you all so much for everything. I got paid on Friday. Oh, I appreciate it. Now everybody can save their money, and you don't need to think about this anymore. Thank you. Hi. But yes, as I was in the middle of saying my spiel, if we hit 670, we can be back to 167%. Guys, you don't have to do that. Please don't, actually. The bar is gone. You can't even tell. You can't even see if you're at that yet anymore. Oh my god. I've literally been sunlocked. I've literally been I've been thrown off my game. It's 13 minutes. It's been 13 minutes and we haven't even done anything. A funny number. I know it's a funny number, but I don't want you to. We know our hearts. Hello, Golfer. I don't want you to. I don't need you to. Hiya! I'll do it. Thank you, Bootleg, for the $5. You'll do it with your watch, with your money. You know what? You're right. I can't tell you what to do. I can only lead the horse to water. I can't make it drink, I suppose. Please don't. Please don't break your banks. Please. But yes. Today was meant to be a tutorial request stream for all of you to request. Thank you. I appreciate that. Today was meant to be a request stream where you can request me to give you tutorials on things that you don't know how to draw. You think I'd go broke for a streamer? I don't know, man. You can lead the bootlegs to the total goal, but you cannot make him underpay. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, feel free to ask more than one question. Feel free to ask whatever you would like. I'll do my best to give you advice or draw you things or, you know, I'll do whatever I can. So feel free to leave them in now. I'm already seeing a couple questions. If you want to keep asking me things, I am here for at least 5 hours. 5 hours? No, 4 hours. I'll be here for, I might be here for 3.5, just because, I have a place to be immediately after stream. I already mentioned I was gonna be a little late to this other thing, but, like, I'd like to be not too late, so, see what happens. I'm not very good at perspective. This is a way that I kind of found it easier for me to grasp perspective. Is to kind of put it into another sort of way of thinking. Is like, you can almost, this kind of sounds like it sucks, but it's another way to sort of think of it is with mathematics. If you think of a cube, right? If you have a cube and you sort of draw it like this, and then you have your, like, directional axes. Right, so if this is the z-axis, this is your y, this is your x, right? This is, oops, this is your, your length times width times height, right? So if you were to translate this onto the cube, it's like this is your height, and then your length, and your width. So then, like, moving forward, when you, like, actively, like, look at objects and stuff, if you are, like, analyzing perspective, which is, like, what you should be doing first before you draw anything, if you are, like, analyzing an object to draw it, look at, like, the edges of said object, and identify which edges are going along your length, which edges are going along your width, and which ones are your height, and those edges will, like, lead you towards the vanishing points that you need. I've always found that that's kind of like another way to almost quickly do perspective off the top of your head. Another way as well is, like, instead of worrying about vanishing points and stuff, start by drawing in a grid. And then you can draw in a person. Like, if you imagine the bottom of a person's feet on here, how does the rest of the body go? You know? And then there's also a thing that I like to think of, like, if you have a horizon line. Oh, here, this one's actually really good, other than the grid thing. If you have a horizon line, let's say you've got your horizon line right here. Everything above you can think of it as, like, looking up and looking down. Everything above the horizon line is gonna have an upwards curve like this. Everything below the horizon line is gonna have a downwards curve like this. And you can think of it as if you're like looking up to the sky, the curve of your eyeball, or looking down, it's the curve of your eyeball that matches, right? So like if you have like so it's like if you are looking up at something, you're going to be looking at the bottom of that thing. If you're looking down on something, you're looking at the top of that thing, right? So it's like if you drew like a cube above, you're going to see the bottom of that guy. Or vice versa if you're looking up from below. But the same thing, if you're drawing, let's say, like a tower, like a cylindrical object, it's like the top of the cylinder, because it's above, the horizon line is going to be curving upwards, bottom is going to be curving downwards, and the closer you get to the horizon line, the less obvious that curve is going to be. Right, so it's going to be less curved the closer you get to that horizon line. So that kind of works there. Hopefully that works. Colfer. Some of the best advice you've received on drawing faster? See, I didn't really get advice on drawing faster because I was very much the type where like my immediate goal was to always draw fast. And for me, it like I had a way where it was like I had an exercise that I would do I had an exercise that I would do when I was in high school where, like, I would sit on the bus and I would use a pen. I would use something that couldn't erase, and I would draw the people that are on the bus. And a big reason for that is because, A, I'm using something that can't be erased. So I am starting to remove my reliance on an eraser. A big thing that people rely on a lot is the undo button and the eraser. And the more time you spend undoing and erasing stuff, the more time that you're spending trying to correct yourself. And especially if you're in that sketching phase, you should not be doing any of that. Or you shouldn't be doing it that often. Secondly, I am also training myself to get it right on the first try because I can't erase that thing. Third of all, the bus is shaking. It's a shaking, creaking, loud vehicle, and like if I fuck up a line, it's done, it's gone, it's done for. And like that's how it is, right? I'm like, I kind of have to live with my mistakes, and I'm putting myself in a situation where I'm gonna make mistakes. Third of all, by drawing the people on the bus, I have no clue how long they're gonna be on the bus. I also have no clue how long they're gonna stay in that same position. If I'm on a bus with somebody, A, I have a timer for how long I can draw for because of my commute. B, I don't know how long these other people's commutes are. They could be on there for 30 seconds, they could be on there for 30 minutes. So the only solution is to draw them as fast as possible. So I am forcing myself in a situation where it's not ideal because there's a lot of shaking and there's a lot of bumping around. I'm not allowing myself to fix my mistakes because I am working with a pen that cannot be erased, removing my reliance on an eraser, and I have unreliable models. And that is how I got faster, because I learned how to draw a person in like 3 seconds. Sounds like it would put me in a coma. It's a lot of practice. And that's like, and that's another thing, is that like, speed, like, comes with practice. That's another thing in there. You got your mother red vinyl today? Fire. How do I draw a person other than a stick figure? It's all in the building. So it's like, frankly, a lot of, like, human structure is built up from, like, actual bones that are under the body. I don't know if I can do, like, a full skeletal breakdown, but it's, like, a big thing is, like, drawing people as, a big thing is, like, drawing people as, like, 3-dimensional forms instead of thinking of them in 2D. The basic thing that people will tell you is, like, oh, you use your spheres, you use your cylinders and stuff like that, which is a great start. I actually like to, like, if I was to kind of help you skip a couple steps, I would pick a couple of different forms. So like if we start with the head, it's like we can start with like a sphere, and then you have like it's almost like a folded sheet of paper in a way that wraps around that bottom of the sphere. Like nowadays I kind of speed that up and then like get rid of that altogether, but it's like this way you sort of have this form going. For the upper torso, I'll draw it off to the side first, and then I'll draw it attached to this person. So for the upper torso, you might want to actually do more of like this egg shape. This egg shape is nice, and you have like this curving open section here. Like think of it as like an egg that has like this almost open bottom here, and then you have a line connecting the peak to the top. This is a rib cage shape, right? So it's like the rib cage is like a nice, and it's like that opening also tells you like the angle that we're looking at this egg form at. So it's like if we're looking down on this person, then it's like the curve open won't be quite as high. On either side of the egg, this is where you can maybe start to add your other spheres for shoulders. You can use like a cylinder for your upper arms. Your middle torso section, you're gonna kind of, some people like to use spheres, some people like to use cylinders that are like a bent macaroni. That's kind of another way that some people like to do it. I adjust based on the body type of the person. When you get to your like hips section, it's best to use something that kind of looks like a pair of like cheeky underwear, like that. It's like you kind of have a shape that sort of matches that. These lines in the center here are very important. These are like the center of the body. On the upper part of the torso, that's going to be your sternum, and the middle part between like your legs is going to be your pubis bone. Those two will never change. The thing that's going to change is right here, because your lumbar is the thing that's going to be twisting and turning. So it's like how these two connect will turn into what angle the body is at, right? So again, it's like we have this sort of shape. Elbow sort of lines up with the belly button here. And then, again, more cylinders for our legs. I like to use like this sort of shape for my knees, or like a coffin if I'm doing more 2D with it. For like the knee form. And then it's almost like a baseball bat shape for the calves here. These are like really wonky looking legs. Hang on. I started drawing. This is what happens when you zoom in. It's like, it doesn't look good. I'm like, I have to draw this completely zoomed out. And it's almost like baseball bat shapes. Like for the calf, it's almost like this. Like a vase or something. And then for your foot, it's 3 or 4 sort of forms. It's, you have a sphere that goes into like a pudding cup shape, that goes into like almost like, I like to call it a door wedge or a cheese wedge, and then a semi-sphere like that. And you've got the shape for a foot. Oh, and then your forearms are also this kind of shape, but it's less intense, right? So it's like, it's a lot of like forms. It's a lot of form stacking. And it's like, this is a slightly more fluid way of approaching it by comparison to your just straight like boxes and shit. But some people love boxes. Like, some people love using the boxes, and like that's also completely fine, you know? How did you grow your audience to the point where you could take commissions? Connections. I am being so dead ass. Like, my fiance is also a fairly popular streamer. I have friends, streamer slash YouTuber. I have friends who are also like, like content creators and stuff. I am part of a D&D show. Like, it is like, so my name is kind of out there, and from there I also got like my niches. Like I'm so sorry. Like, I wish I could give you better advice on how to get better like commissions and how to get more like attention. Frankly, the best advice that I can give you is be more social. Like, it's like half of like my opportunities were because of happenstance, and because like I was open to being social and I was open to talking to a lot of people. And it is like, yeah, the advice is to make friends and to gain connections and to network and that kind of thing. You kind of, as an artist, you kind of have to know how to be peacocking. Like, you have to know how to peacock. You're part of a D&D show? I am, yeah. So on YouTube, so Lonnie, my doll girl, you can watch me play as her. At a, what do you call it? Starlost Seas. I'll probably make a command for it at one point. Well, they're called Starlost Stormridden right now, but the channel's just Starlost D&D. I'm a side character. I'm not a full character. So I'm not there all the time, but I'm there sometimes. Sometimes they will mention me anyway, because I'm always sitting and listening regardless, just because I think it's fun. Peacocking is being able to show yourself off. So you know how peacocks, like, they spread their feathers and they like show off and they're like very showy and pretty. So when you say that you're peacocking, it's like you're showing your feathers, you're showing yourself off. So it's like, you kind of have to know how to do that. And you kind of have to know how to be confident in your own work and like be able to tell people like, yeah, I am pretty good. It's like, here's my certifications, here's how I know that I'm good. That kind of thing. But yeah. I didn't want to spoil anything! But yeah. Like, unfortunately, like, my best advice is to socialize more and to grab more for a network. Oh, I think my chat isn't working on the overlay. Hang on, let me fix it again. There we go. God, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Sometimes it just don't work, bro. Ba-da-da. Let's see. Drawing a lot of my 𝘧𝘰𝘪𝘯 characters like an armor tutorial. If anybody ever asks for robots as well, this works for mechs at the same time. Armor and mechs, generally the two look the best when they... Okay, I'm gonna say right now, I don't do either of those that often. I also do not accept mechs for commissions because I don't trust myself to do it at a professional level, but I love drawing them, and it's like, this is kind of what I've picked up over time. The best way that I like to think of, like, armor and mechs is you have to think of the anatomy that is attached to it and how you want it to move, right? Movement is a huge part of armor, right? Because armor is like, it's meant to protect you, but you also can't like have it restrict your movement that much. Like, it'll restrict stuff, don't worry, it's gonna restrict movement, but it's not gonna be, but it can't be like it won't work, right? Appreciate advice that's honest versus vague, follow your dreams talk. Yeah, no, I don't believe in that either. But like, let's say that I did like an arm, right? It's like, let's start with like just like your basic kind of like, let's say I chose to do sort of like an arm glove thing. Hang on, let's fix this. Ugh. Right? So it's like, let's say we started with this, right? It's like we have like an arm that goes in here. Yeah, can't make you a sitting duck on the battlefield. You gotta move. So if we think about an arm, right, how an arm moves, first of all, it's like we're gonna have a lot of rotation that centers on the shoulder here. So we gotta be able to move the arm like all the way around, especially if they are trying to, or at the very least, it needs to move forwards and backwards so that they can swing a weapon of some kind, most likely. And you're also going to want movement. Hang on. Duh. You're also gonna want movement here, where the elbow connects. It's gonna only be able to curl inwards. There's only so far it can go back because your olecranon stops your arm from overextending. Your olecranon is essentially your like knee bone of your arm. So your arm has to be able to curl inwards like this, and then your wrist is going to kind of be able to also like curl inwards and a little bit backwards, right? But it'll mostly be able to curl inwards more than it is back, depending on what kind of person you are. But you want to think of that, right? You want to think of that sort of movement. So in that case, it's like, okay, if we sort of have like a shoulder pauldron, it's like maybe we've got like that sort of like it also helps to have it follow, in terms of like visual aesthetics, it also helps to have them follow the muscle itself. So it's like pauldrons are nice because they follow that deltoid muscle. If you have one of those, it's like you want to think about how the arm moves and how like the deltoid like squishes upwards and downwards. So you don't want it to go too close to the neck here, or else they won't be able to raise their arm. But you also don't want it to go too far out, or else it's gonna like fall down the side of the arm. So it's like a nice spot is like, maybe it's like we start it here and sort of rest it on top of the arm like this, right? And then maybe you have more like armor that sort of stops right here, right? It's like it's gonna stop kind of at this upper joint area, because if you have it overlap, that's gonna be too hard to move your arms. Same thing here. It's like maybe you have like an arm brace sort of thing that again stops at the wrist, because you're gonna want movement there. It's like maybe your straps are attached to here. The pauldron actually goes over the chest or whatever. It's like, because like under the arm, that's gonna kind of feel like it's gonna cut right here, and that might be kind of awkward feeling. Hi, my love. And then maybe you just have a glove. Maybe you just want a glove. That makes your life easier. Just a glove. Maybe you don't want it to be too weighed down on that arm as well. And then maybe you can also attach it to like glove itself, right? So that's like, again, like super basic like armor, and that's again thinking of the movement of the arm along with what you might want to protect, right? Like where weighting is going to be distributed and stuff like that. So it's like you might want to think of stuff like that. And again, it's the same deal with, like, mechs, except mechs you're also going to think of what, like, a mechanism here might look like to give it the movement of that joint that you might want, right? But we're talking about armor, so I don't need to get into that right now. But hopefully that helps too. And the design part is, like, just kind of how you design everything else. It's like, oh, think about, like, it's like maybe you wanted something inspired by birds, so maybe your, like, pauldron has, like, feathers or something that kind of comes off of it, follows that deltoid muscle look. But again, you want to keep that kind of same movement in mind and that anatomy in mind. This is the idea of mixing fashion with function. It's like you want to mix the fashion of it and make it visually appealing and have it lean to something, but also you want to make sure that it is functional properly, so like it works as armor, you know? So that's one way to think of it. Yeah, hopefully that helps. Yippee! Oh, Brinso said that she was lurking. I hope you have fun. Valuable information on comic speech bubbles. Yeah, of course. Speech bubbles. The best thing that I can tell you, like, some people, yeah. Thank you. Some people like doing, like, the full, like, oval thing, which is totally fine. That's very, very classic. I actually, personally, like, as just kind of, like, a personal choice, I like making them more rectangular, only because it feels more clean to me, and it helps, like, keep the text all kind of in one place. A big thing as well, how big is this? Ooh. Oh, let's make that bigger. Okay, so like when you have text like this, right, it's like, let's say we do this, you can kind of see how I have chosen to do the spacing for my lettering, right? You notice it kind of follows this almost diamond shape. That is usually what you want. It's like, think of any center justified paragraph. You want to kind of keep it like that. Your widest text is going to be in the center, and it's going to slowly thin out as you get closer to the bottom. Same thing with the top. It's like you start thin, go wider, go back down. Same thing with, like, actual paragraphs on pages. You don't really want to leave, like, single words. As much as you can, you want to avoid this. Sometimes there's nothing you can do, and you kind of have to. But you want to avoid it as much as possible. Notice that I leave more room on the sides than the top. That usually is a little more visually appealing. That's a graphic design tip. It usually just looks a little bit better. It gives your text, it makes it feel like it has a little more room by comparison. It's like, even this is fine, but it's like, again, there's more room on the sides than there is on the top. And speaking of, like, this is about as small as I would get in terms of spacing between my lettering and my bubble. Any closer than this and it starts to feel really claustrophobic. Like, if I start to, like, get really, really close in, it's like, you notice how that feels, because what's happening is you're starting to create a tangent. You're starting to create tangents with the text and the bubble itself. So this is just about as, like, it's like I might get a little bit smaller. Like, it's like I could maybe at max do like this, right? Like, I'm like, that's as close as I would get. Any closer, it becomes claustrophobic. You don't want it to be too much, because it's like you want it, but this is like ideal. This is like a really good amount of space between all of your lettering and the edges of the bubbles, because again, any smaller than that, it's gonna feel claustrophobic. Let's try and keep that in mind. For the bubbles themselves, and also try and get more creative with them. It's way more fun when, like, your bubbles actually, like, it's way more fun when you start to let your bubbles, like, be fun. Like, you don't want them to feel too, like, boring. It's like, you can have, like, spiky ones like this. You, like, I like to, if somebody is, like, feeling kind of shit, I like doing like that, you know? Could it be useful to get it closer on purpose during a claustrophobic scene? not really. Because, by comparison to actual... Well, I mean, I'm not gonna say no. Like, it could be. The problem with bubbles is that bubbles and text placement and stuff are a lot more graphic designy than they are just illustrative. So they have to use multiple different layers of design because you want them to be readable and still feel good. If you have like a claustrophobic scene, I guess you could do that if you really wanted to, but it's like, if not like obvious that that's the purposeful thing you're doing, it can just feel like a mistake. So you're gonna have to kind of be creative with it and understand what it is that you're showing. But yeah, it is possible. Like, it is 1000% possible. That's the fun thing about comics too, is that it's never, like, there are creative solutions for everything. So it's like, you could totally do that, but unlike, if you are speaking on average, like, this is like the spacing that you're wanted. Like, if they're just having a conversation, it's like, try not to break that out, you know? But yeah, it's like, try and keep it to a kind of a specific sort of thing otherwise. But there are always times and places where there is a chance for you to break rules and whatnot. Because I spoke about this before. Comics are so interesting because, like, when I would teach them, like, students would come to me with very simple art styles and they would feel bad because they're like, I don't know if this is, like, a good enough style for, like, a comic. And I'm like, that's the secret. Comics are sequential artwork. It's story artwork. And, like, as long as you can tell the story well and you can, like, do it in an interesting sort of way, how you draw doesn't really matter. It is making sure that it is readable and, like, entertaining to read. And it's like, sometimes, like, you can have, like, just a stick figure and it's like, that's all you need, really. We can basically do whatever we want with speech bubbles creatively. 1000%, yeah. It's like, you can really do, like, you can stretch a lot. Speech bubbles are like an art style in itself, right? It's like, you can have, like, a lot of things, a lot of creative solutions. The big thing is that you just have to keep your rule sets consistent, right? It's like, if you are constantly changing your bubbles and constantly changing how things work, then it doesn't make a ton of sense. But it's like, if you are doing it purposefully and you're doing it with, like, creative intent and solution in mind, then it's masterful. Yeah, comprehensive and readable. Exactly. I have to, like, scroll. Don't mind me, I have to, like, scroll up and see what I've missed. How to draw purple kitty. Draw cat, fill it in purple. I just did those choices. How do I draw men? Do you want the secret? Do we want the secret? Do you want the secret? Men and women have the same structure. You know why? Because we have the same skeleton. Men and women, the idea of drawing the differences between men and women are so minute, it doesn't matter, frankly. Like, there are, like, what you are asking me is how to draw different body types. It's different than I thought you were gonna say. At most men's pelvis has narrower hips. Not even. What you are asking me is how to draw different body types. Different body types and different body parts. Right? It's like, frankly, like, you can have, like, different kinds of body types and still look like, you can be a woman and still have very wide shoulders and boobs and, like, have a traditionally masculine body frame, and it's like, that's still a woman, right? And it's like, and women can have small hips, and, like, men can have wide hips, and it's like, it is isn't the only difference between women and men just the chest and pelvis? Isn't the rest the exact same thing? Sometimes. Not even sometimes, because then that also discounts women who don't have a large chest, right? And it's like, the idea is just like, it's like, all you're asking me is just how to draw different body types, in which then, if you want to distinguish between men and women, learn how to draw different body types first. Because that'll help you more than being like, this shape is for women, this shape is for men. You are then instead just learning different shapes, period. In which then, So, like, in that case, in that sort of advice, how to draw different body types, all I would frankly suggest is just start working with different silhouettes, right? It's like, because a lot of the times it's like we kind of get stuck in, like, the idealistic, right, like, upside down triangle and hourglass, depending on who it is that we're drawing, right? It's like we kind of get stuck with, like, this idealistic, quote-unquote man shape of, again, the, like, upside down sort of, like, triangle vibe of, like, the body. And then for women, it's like people kind of get stuck in this, like, hourglass sort of figure. Right? It's like people kind of get stuck in these two body types, right? And then it's like you kind of get, and it's like, where's my dono goal? It was reached, so I hit it. I don't want people to spend their money too much. But we were good. No, it's done. It's free. It's done. I finished it. We got it. Yeah, we did it. It's okay. But yeah, humans are vibes. Like, it is like my suggestion is to start drawing just different body types in general, and like start to mess with different shapes that people might have, right? It's like you might have like more of like an almost like pear, like right side up triangle, right? It's like you might have like a body type like this, or like you might have somebody who is like the hips and the upper chest are the same shape. Like, it's maybe you have like something that's more like a rectangle, or maybe you have somebody who's more ovular, right? It's like mess with different shapes first, mess with different like silhouettes, and push it. It's like, do not like Dono Goal tips for shield. Let's do it. Where's your new Dono Goal? What do you mean my new Dono Goal, Pulse? Pulse, it's done. I finished it. It's finished. I did it. I'm not hiding it because I don't want people to see it. I'm hiding it because it's done. You found a lost session of Ion? Wait. Are you serious? Which one? Oh my god, wait. Which one? Like, the audio works too? Because the lost session, some of the lost sessions were ones where the audio didn't work. I'm so sorry. I'm pausing. This is very important. Wait. You're gonna be tough for me, son. 91? Which one was 91? Hang on, I'm so sorry, everybody. This is very important. We lost some of our sessions of my campaign with Corn. I need to see this. 91. What was 91? Oh. Oh, when I got the clockwork amulet that I never used. Pull the card and give you a wish. No, I wouldn't do that again. Oh, Scribs. Oh, it's when they fought. When Atros revealed that he was lying to everybody about something, and then we all had to make up. Oh, that was a good one! Oh, when Quinn's calm emotions didn't work either. Okay. I like this Quinn. This is a good Quinn. This is a good one here. Okay, Slay. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, thank you. Cool. Thank you for letting me know. That's cool. Yes, back on time. It's okay. I'm sorry. I had to like check in. I had to see what 91 was. I needed to remember. That was Slay. But yes, my TLDR, don't learn how to draw men, don't learn how to draw women, learn how to draw different body types, and you'll get there. Because it's like, once you learn how to draw just different forms in general, the construct of, the construct of what is a woman's body type and what is a man's body type no longer matters to you, because any body type becomes easy. So, I'd suggest just learning bodies. Learn bodies better. It is also just, like, literally, it is so fun to know how to draw different body types. To which I'll also add this feedback, I'll add this thing. It's like, if you think you've pushed it, go even further. It's like, you're like, okay, I'm gonna widen the hips a little bit more, now make them even wider, right? It's like, don't, like, hold yourself back because it's, like, for aesthetics or whatever. It's like, really start to exaggerate. Because, frankly, people are all so different. There's no reason for you to make the changes subtle. Right? So, draw shield. Yeah, hopefully that helps. Ba-da-da. Sorry, I have to like scroll up a little. Man. Wondering if there is any shapes or tips for proportions or anatomy for four-legged animals like wolves or cats. Okay. Like, wolves or cats specifically, because, like... Do you want to know the secret? Do we want to know another secret? Because wolves and cats are all do you want to know the secret? Do you want to know another secret? For more four-legged digitigrades? Do we want to learn another secret? Another secret. Every single mammal that you will draw, we all kind of have the exact same structure in different positions. Every single mammal that you will draw kind of just has the exact same structure in different positions. We're hearing this? You're hearing me? Yes. And the reason for that is because mammals all kind of have the same skeletal structure. When you are working with a mammal of any kind, they all have the same skeletal structure somewhat. It's very similar. In terms of artistic ways of working, they're all very similar. You're just moving stuff around. That's pretty much it, right? So if we take a human skeleton... Yeah, our ankles kind of suck ass. But if we take a human skeleton... Always has been, yeah. Human skeleton. I have to look up human skeleton pictures all the time. If we look at a skeleton... Whoa! That image is tiny! Hang on, there's gotta be a better one here. Hold on. Wikipedia, please. Aha! Why can't I copy this? What the hell-y? Okay, well. No, you're literally... No, because you're literally correct. It was like 200. Copy image. What was that noise, bro? Wait, that was freaking crazy. Hang on. Hang on. Hold the phone. Is this a vector? Is that why I can't copy paste it? Wikipedia just has vectors on there. Okay, wait, hang on. I'm just gonna drag it over then. Alright. Cause look at this. I just zoom in and it's like... That's awesome. Whoa. Yeah, I guess this is kind of like a vector. Anyway. If we're looking at this, right? We're looking at this human skeleton we got going on right here, right? I'll screenshot it too, just so we can have it in the Photoshop file. But like if we're looking at this, right? What we've got here, so we've got our rib cage, we've got our pelvis here, we've got, you know, it says it's like femur is the big bone here, patella, tibia, fibula, tarsals, metatarsals, phalanges, right? Oh, I can... Oh, this is a vector. Yeah, because these are separate. Ah, yeah, it's an SVG file. Interesting. Okay, great. But yeah, and then it's like the same structure on the arms, right? Because frankly, what we have up here, right? This is our shoulder girdle, our pelvic girdle, right? The structure for our appendicular skeletal parts are the same with our legs and our arms. So like we have our shoulder girdle that has our clavicle and our scapula in the back, and that holds our arms. And our arms and our legs are big bone followed by two slightly smaller bones followed by a bunch of tiny bones. So it's up here, it's our humerus followed by our ulna radius, and then we have our carpals, metacarpals, and phalanges as make up our wrist and our hand, right? So big bone, two slightly smaller bones, and then a bunch of tiny bones. Exactly the same down here. We've got our femur into the patella, which, by the way, the patella equivalent up here is called the olecranon. That's like our elbow bone that's attached to our ulna, so we can't even see it right now. But it's like our big bone, followed by two kind of smaller bones, the tibia, fibula, and then followed by a bunch of tiny little bones, and that makes our little bindy bones here. Tibia! Yeah, tibia! Fibula! That's Did you take that from me? I don't remember, because that's what my professor, that's how she taught us to remember which one was bigger and which one was smaller. She was like, tibia, fibula! That's how she got us to remember which one was which. But yeah, so again, big bone is followed like that, right? So let's take this guy. God, it's so small. It's like, let's take this guy, right? We're gonna put him here. You know, Paul, it's true. It's actually so funny. No, dude, I loved my professor. My anatomy for artists professor. She was so good. Amazing professor. She was so sweet. Let's take a dog. Dog skeleton. Alright? And we're gonna compare these bad boys. Alright? Oh, this is a giant image. Okay. Supposedly it was a big image, but it's not actually that big. It's good enough though. This will do. Or do I want to use this one? Do I want to use a different one? Nah, this will do. Right. Alright, so let's say we've got this guy going on, right? We're looking at a dog. Get that dog in here. Alright. Now if we compare ribs, right? Scapula, right? It even says it here. It's the scapula, same thing. Scapula. Got the humerus, radius and ulna. Radius, no, this is the ulna radius, right? Carpus, where they're called carpals for us, but carpus, metacarpus, metacarpals, phalanges. It's the exact same structure. It's all literally the exact same structure. And the only thing is that it's just shifted a little bit. They even bend the same way, right? See, the olecranon, it's on here too, right? They didn't show it on this one, apparently, but it's on here. And it bends the same way because this is like a hinge joint, right? Dog leg can only go back so far, right? They're walking on their toes. We walk on our heels here. That's why we're called plantigrade. Dogs walk on their digits, which is why they're called digitigrades. They walk on their phalanges. Right? Even here, the sacrum and the ilium, they're all here still. We've got our sacrum and coccyx here. But theirs, yeah, coccygeal vertebrae is what they get because they have tails. So if our coccyx, this little tiny bit of the spine here, was longer, we would have tails. But we don't. So we just get that tiny little nub. But things with tails have a coccygeal vertebrae. So they're a lot longer. But again, once again, pretty much the same structure. It's just we're shifting everything around. So, if you want to draw a dog, you're gonna kind of use weirdly similar shapes to a person. Obviously, there are gonna be differences. It's like you're gonna want this same like kind of egg shape here, then the dip in for the stomach that goes back out into a pair of hips. Like you can even use like this underwear sort of shape for the back of like a dog if you wanted. Like that's also totally fine. But it's like you're gonna have like different forms for like the legs and the paws and stuff like that, obviously. But this torso bit is kind of the same. So if you have all mammals have structure like this. Even the water ones, even the aquatic ones. You got, like, whales, dolphins. Like, they're gonna have that same skeletal structure. Seals, walruses, you know, like, they're all mammals. You're gonna see they're gonna have the same bones. They're just gonna be slightly different sizes and slightly different positions. But it's all the same. Which is very interesting. So there you go. There's a couple of animal tips for you. Yeah. Tips on drawing a herd sona? Make yourself herd animal. Yes. Painterly semi-realistic rendering tutorial requests. Semi-realistic tutorial for rendering. Yeah, of course. Rendering is interesting because I find you've done your host. I want to see. Yeah, unleash your little inner goat. Rendering is interesting because I think like I love to make my rendering not that realistic. But like yeah, whales and dolphins are in fact mammals. Yes. I've seen it. Oh yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, you did show it to me. LOL. I thought maybe you did more. Okay. Da, 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 da. You full illustration digitally? Okay, okay. Yeah. Because I remember seeing the whip. I thought you had done, like, something else. Here. Why are whales and dolphins mammals? Live birth. No! Don't do that. Not the chain link. Hang on, I'm waiting for a file to load. So I can show you kind of how I render a couple of things out. Because it depends on what you're going for. So, like, because I really love, I personally really love it when my brush strokes are still there. Like, I see a lot of people where it's like they want that super smooth, like, finish, and I'm like, I don't like doing that. I love it when you can still kind of see what was there, like how my brush moved and how, like, I chose to leave some marks of what, like, my brush leaves behind. It's like, I want you to know that this was a drawing, in a way. So I'm grabbing a couple of examples. Because I don't actually paint that often. I wish I painted more, but it's like, it takes a while, and I get bored sometimes. I love the look of painterly art, and I do it every once in a while when I get the urge, but I love my line art too much. I'm very much a line art person. Bang on these two as well. And then I have one commission that I still really like. I don't mind it not being super smooth and trying to learn how to render more sloppily. Actually, just go ahead and go for the super polished look. Usually ends up making it look weird and plasticky. That's fair. No, I get that for sure. But yeah, it's like, I like to kind of leave evidence of my brush strokes in there. This isn't even that painterly. It's like, I just kind of went through with it. Hang on, I'll go with this one. So it's like, for me, like, a big thing is to kind of remember the forms of what it is that you're hoping to draw. So it's like trying to remember what it is, like what is underneath that rendering that you've got, right? So it's like, let's take 𝘴𝑰's shoulder here, for example. If we kind of analyze the three-dimensional form that's going on here, right? It's like, if we take this sort of shoulder bit, we understand that the shoulder is overall, like, curved, right? So it's like right here on this, like, edge of the shoulder here is where I added subsurface scattering, but it's also where I made the rendering a little bit softer. So it's like it curves down into here. At the edge of the deltoid right here is where I sharpened it up a little bit more so that it's like, it indicates almost a change in the muscle. I also make the shadow nice and sharp here because it's where the edge of the hair hits the edge of the shoulder. So then that makes the shadow nice and sharp because that's based on proximity, not on light source, right? So it's like understanding not only the form, but also just how light reacts to certain parts of the body. Same thing right here. So like up at the top of the cheek here, the light is like a sharp cutoff here because it's like we think again of like this sort of like three-dimensional shape that goes around the eye here, right? It's like a sharp cutoff to the top of the cheekbone right there. So that top of the the shadow is cut off real sharp because of the brow bone and the cheekbone like meeting up at the top here. But this section of the cheek, it's like it slowly curves downwards again as like that three-dimensional form. So again, subsurface scattering on the bottom here, and it's more of a transition from one side to the next, right? So let's hand backward in the mirror. No, here. See, it's going from this side. Try and hold your jaw from your arm. It's like you notice that your thumb points towards your thumb points towards your shoulder if you're holding it naturally from underneath, right? So it's like you're gonna have the... No! The thumb is on the wrong side. Holy shit! I was like, no, the thumb is in the right spot, but also not in the correct spot. That's what felt so weird about this one. Well, isn't that interesting? How about that? Yeah, no, because the thumbnail should be here. Yep. That's more how it should have been. Oopsies. Well, no. No, yes. Yeah, because this should be the index finger right here. But I treated it as if it was the pinky. Limo! That's funny. Okay, well, it's over. It's done. I drew this like a year ago. Who cares anymore? Yeah, it happens. Sometimes you don't notice. That's okay. Good to know. That's funny though. There's another piece of mine that was similar, that did something similar. I had back when I was drawing Grayson, I had this one piece of him looking in the mirror, and it was like, that piece was really cool, but the sync was completely out of perspective. Entirely out of perspective. Yeah, and it was like, I remember one of my students pointed it out. It was like, yeah, one of my students pointed it out, and they were like, isn't the sync out of perspective? And I was like, you're correct. Like, that's not in the right. Yeah, placing the thumb in the wrong position. It happens to literally everybody. Oh well, so shall it be. It happens. It is what it is. Okay. Yeah, that was years ago. Rendering, though. Another thing to note is also the texture of the object that you're working with. So the hair, I wanted it to have this kind of like damp or wet look. So it's like you have like a huge swath of this light right here, right? It's like, it's super big and super obvious, and it doesn't really have any blending. So it's like, it gives an almost like wet texture. Also the way that the hair like wisps on the back and on the side of the face here, as if it's like kind of sticking to the face as well. It's like you kind of want that vibe too. Here's another one of 𝘫𝘰𝘪𝘯. So but it's like a big thing for me is like, you want to start with nice, for me it's like, I like to do it is kind of cool. It's nice to start with kind of like sharper forms and sharper shapes, and then go back in and smooth it out later, right? It's like, I find that it is a lot easier to kind of start nice and sharp and then smooth it out. Because then it's like, realistically, it's like we have a lot of like ways, like this cheek right here, I really liked the way that this was rendered. It's like you have like a lot of edges of things that you can use to like add anchor points and like keep the face feeling like realistic. Because frankly, the more realistic blending and more like convincing rendering should be a mix of soft and sharp shadow, because we have so many different planes and forms on our faces that it's like how we alter drawing each section of the body and each section of the face like should alter, right? It's like we have different areas where it's like our proximity between like facial forms might be different, right? It's like we have like an upper lid here that like sharpens up, or it's like you have like a lower lid that sharpens up. It all depends, right? I didn't expect you back home so soon. Where are you going? Oh. You want to say hi to chat?
Hi, chat. Hello.
My mother has walked into the room.
Sorry, disturb her for 2 minutes. Bye.
Bye. But yeah, it's like start sharp and then smooth it out as necessary. Because it's always good to find your shadow as a whole before you go back down, right? That's my advice. I will give an example too. Mother vision. Mother vision is so funny. Here. Let's render out let's render out a nose, because noses have a nice amount of texture, I feel. A nice amount of form to them. I'll do it all in one layer too, just to make it easier. But like, It's like, let's say we have like kind of the nose form going on. Right, let's say that our light source is kind of coming from up top. It's just easier that way. But yeah, it's like we want kind of to start with the biggest swaths of shadow that we know will be happening. Right? It's like we don't want it to be... It's like we want large swaths. It's actually, sorry. I was like, I'm gonna put the light source here. No, the light source is gonna be like here. That's where we're going. So we want to start with the large swaths of everything. We also want to start with all of our darks first. Is usually what I like to do. It's like start with our darkest darks in the areas that will probably have the most like dark areas to them. It's like this kind of diamond-y shape, right? And then it's like there might be a little bit of shadow here too. It's like it depends on what we're working with. You might want to change the shadow color as well. It depends on what we're hoping to achieve, right? But we start with like this nice and sharp sort of look, right? It's like we start with our nice and sharp shadows. We go back in. It's like, okay, well, I want subsurface scattering too. So it's like you add them to some of the corners, some of the bottoms of things, right? Edges of like your shadow, right? And you've kind of built that all up. Now you can start to add in a little bit of your lights. So it's like the top of the nose in general is going to be a little bit lighter than the regular bridge, right? I like to stylize it, add a little bit of light on the outside of the nostril here too, right? And then we've got that big sort of like, we've got that big sort of swath. And then this is when you start to blend it out, right? We've got like all of our swaths and we kind of understand where like things are meant to go, and then that's when you can go back in now and you're like, okay, well, it's like this might need a little bit of rendering here, this might be a little bit of smoothing out there, right? Most of this is going to be left kind of like soft in general, but it's like you will have things like you might need to go back in, add in color too, right? Depending on what it is that you're working with. Right here, kind of want more redness as this goes into the Cupid's bow kind of area. I really like to, again, a personal choice, this is not necessarily realistic, I really like to lighten up the bottom of the nostril. Like, for some reason, it's just a fun little touch that I like to do. It weirdly highlights the floor of the nose for me. Again, that's like a personal choice. Doesn't really do anything other than like something that I like to do. Yeah, then outside the nose a little bit more. It's like I want to sharpen this up a bit more. And it's like I want to... This edge here, I'm going to kind of merge it into the nose a little bit more. You know? So it kind of does that. It's like, frankly, this shadow's a little too dark. It's not... This shadow's kind of wonky, but... You might have more shadow here between the brow and the bridge as well. It's like you can go back in and fix stuff too, but it's like you kind of have this general form going on here. Carve this up. This actually should be lighter too. I'm like, I go back in and I'm like, wait, this should be lighter too. And kind of fix that up a little bit. Blend this out more. Right? And then it's like your final thing can be like, oh, it's like I want to add a really bright highlight to the tip of the nose here. And that's always like a Ah, nice finishing touch. All right. So it's like you start... Stop it! But yeah. It's like... Actually, what's your damage? Decades of drawing is my damage. Jesse for comedy. No. Keep your money, save your money. You don't need to pay me anything right now. Just don't worry about it. Right, but it's like it's like you slowly kind of render stuff out. It's you block it out first, and then you add to it down the line, right? So it's like you don't start with it being like, oh, this is everything immediately. It's like you start with something really like basic. Like if you look at that one painting of Selig, let me just like your lineage. This one, right? It was like, this is what I started with. Like, I actually, like, I had like a really rough kind of like sketch like this. Wow, this anatomy is actually really rough. You start off with like, I started off with this, and then I cleaned it up a little bit, and then I just did all of my color in one pass, just with my eyes. I didn't merge anything. This entire file is 5 layers. And then it was like, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pick a couple places where I just need to clean it up. And so I did. I had like 1 extra layer to like smooth out a couple of places, get rid of some of the lines, fix up a couple things, and then I had 1 layer for signature. I did, because I did this last year, right? It's that kind of thing, you know? To be fair, if we pay you, we get entertainment in the form of you getting stun locked. Okay, but like, you don't need to do that. But hopefully that helps. A little bit of a little simple rendering. You just start with it being really, really easy, and then you slowly work your way. But like, know where to keep some portions like sharp, right? Okay, if I haven't answered your question yet, feel free to type it in again. even if you've already had one answered, feel free to ask me multiple things. I'm here for a while. Ask me multiple things. Love to review directional lines and framing and composition during stream. Oh, like compositional techniques. Yeah, that's easy. I can do that. Framing is easy. It's just like, it's like, hello. When you were doing like framing and like, well, directional lines, you can also call them leading lines. Like when you have like leading lines in a composition, all that it is like essentially what you're just asking me is like different techniques to use either of those, because it's like, frankly, when you have composition, it is like when you are doing framing, that is all, a lot of it is just about how you position the things in the composition, right? I know I have an old, thank you. I know I have an old lesson that I can just pull up on this one, because I actually am very bad at knowing the definitions of compositions off the top of my head. Like, I kind of just know how to do it. I find I'm like kind of bad with like being like, oh, it's like, this is the name of this composition, this is the name of this composition, because I find I'm not great at those. Because most of the time, like, composition and balance are based a lot on vibes, which makes them really difficult to teach. I think this is it. Yes. Okay. So, yeah, composition is like, you have like a bunch of different compositional types that show up every once in a while. These are from the other place. But it's like, Yeah, there are types of compositional arrangements is what you're asking me. So there's some common types of compositional arrangements people will use for background or scenic work. Not all can be used for characters, but some can be finagled to work. Combinations of compositions can be used in some circumstances. So it's like, this one is called the 𝘫𝘰𝘪𝘯, where you have like a big guy and a little guy. It's a scale with two masses, one large and one small. The focal point is usually closer to the larger object, often connected by the horizon. Hi, Cryo! You have balanced scales, so it's like the things are kind of balanced on both ends, kind of do this thing. It's close to approximate symmetry. You can have like a circular one where it's like everything kind of is in the center there. You can use an S curve as like a leading line as well. So you call this S, or a compound curve. A triangle where it's like your focal point is sort of in the middle and your composition sort of makes a full triangle in the center. And you can also have it so your composition is cut into a diagonal line. So it's like there's several ways to do that, depending on what it is that you're drawing. So it's like, and again, there's also different types of balances that you might want to use, depending on where you put stuff. But yeah, like what you're also asking is leading lines. So leading lines are a line pointing you in the direction towards your focal point. So you can do it with pathways, gradients, perspective, etc. And focal points are organized via balance, space, and contrast. So it's whatever the main thing that you're looking at, like what it is, right? And you're going to be using stuff like leading lines to lead you towards that focal point, right? So it's like, of these compositional things, it's like it kind of depends on what you put into your piece. So it's like, if you say you're using like this circular sort of thing, it's like you might have like another version that you could do of this one is, it's like, I'll use like this little frame down here. It's like maybe you have like a bunch of like trees in your foreground, and it's like you have like your little guy here, and then it's like that kind of like frames them and circles them in the center. Or like if you have like if you have something like this S curve, it's like you might, let's say it's like this, like a castle in the background or a house, and then you have like an S curve leading up to it. It's like that's a form of like a leading line. Or like this triangular one, it's like maybe like you have like something directly in the center. It's like, let's say this like a dragon. And that goes up to the center, and that's like your almost triangular leading line up to the top, right? It's like you're using the edges of the clouds, right? It is using everything within your composition to lead towards whatever it is that you want to lead towards. But yeah. Any tips for drawing dragons facing forward? It's something I've been practicing often. Humans, but mainly dragons. I mean, dragons, do we want to know another secret? Do we want to know another secret? We can learn another secret. I can teach you another secret. We're drawing dragons from the front. I can teach you another secret. Do we want another secret? We can teach you another secret. Yes. We can have another secret. Alright. Dragons are kind of just dogs. So if you want a dragon from the front, you're gonna get a dog. And here's the thing. Dragons aren't real, unfortunately, for those who are sad about that fact. Dragons aren't real, so if you look up any other animal that you kind of want the same silhouette of facing the front, you'll get what you're looking for, right? So, frankly, all that it is, like with dogs, right? It's like dog, it's kind of just like a sphere, and then like almost like a cheese wedge sort of form, like this. So then you kind of just have like a sphere, and then that cheese wedge form facing the front, right? And it forces you to sort of have a good understanding of 3D forms, right? So it's like if you kind of have like your, I'll draw puddles for the form of for some nostalgia, right? If I'm not wrong, they came from dinosaurs. Correct, in which then they also came from birds. So it's like you could also look up a bird from facing the front if you wanted to. But it is all sort of the same structure. So like if you have like let's say like we have like a dragon sort of facing the side. This is my fiance's kind of characters, dragon puddles. So it's like, let's say we sort of have like a dragon sort of facing this side. I could have drawn corn, but I'm like Puddles is like a dragon. So like, let's say we have like this dragon facing from the side, right? if we are then facing this from the front, all that we're doing is we're doing this same sort of like a cone-like form, or this cylinder. It's almost like a cup stuck onto a sphere is another way that you can think of it, but now we're drawing the cup facing forwards, right? You just have to think of all of these elements now facing from the front. So it's like you kind of have to have an understanding of how the whole head translates from the side. So like my best advice, frankly, is just to understand like how all of these elements are laid onto the head in multiple angles, right? Understand like what that three-dimensional form looks like, and it's like you can draw it in whatever angle you want, right? So it's like think about the actual three-dimensional forms that make up the head. But it is essentially if you took a sphere and you stuck a cup on the front of it. That's sort of what you're looking at. If you want a reference, a really good thing you could do is get a sphere and stick a plastic cup to it and just draw the elements on the plastic cup and then just face it towards you. That's another thing you could do. Or, like, if you don't have just a sphere of some kind, you can use, like, a ball or, like a wad of tape or something. Like, you could also just use, like, a box. Like, if you just have a little, like, box. Like, if you have, like a... You can make a box out of paper. Like, if you fold a cube out of paper, and then you can get, like, a plastic cup, and then just stick that plastic cup onto the paper cube, and then just draw the elements on both of them and just rotate it. You could also do that. So that's also a possibility, you know? So there you go. It's simple, just getting the ability to think in 3D. D, that's like the majority of the world. Most people don't have aphantasia, so that is a possibility. Hello. How do you make creatures scary? Oh, I think what I often struggle with are mainly the position of the eyebrows and the eyes. And that is, like, so you're drawing the eyes on the side of the head, so that means that the eyes are also gonna be on either side of the head. Like, frankly, like, look at a dog from the front. Like, if you are looking directly at, like, not a wolf, a dog. Dog from the front. Like, some dogs, because, like, you'll get some dogs, or, maybe not a dog. You should actually look, no, you should look at birds from the front. Like, look at, like, birds, or, like, that kind of thing, where it's, like, then you'll sort of see how the eye sort of inlays on either side of the head. Right? It's, like, you kind of get this sort of form where, like, the lid kind of does this magic. Right? It's like, I've exaggerated it a ton here, but it's like you can get like this sort of form where it's like the eye lid is sort of on the side. Because it is always easier to draw a bird from the side, right? But it's like from the front because the eyes are going to kind of like lay on the either side of the skull instead of directly on the front. So try and look at those. Because again, it is based on a bird. Like the idea of dragons came from finding fossils, dinosaur fossils. And what do birds come from? Dinosaurs. So it's a similar structure, you know? Yeah, birds can get real goofy looking. But yeah, how to make creatures more scary. Horror works best when you know less. So when you are trying to make a creature that is scary, do not give them a bunch of razor sharp teeth. Do not make them bloody and like all in your face. And do not make them like rah 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 right in your face. If you want them to actually be something creepy and malicious and kind of hard to pinpoint, you're gonna make them simple. Monsters work best when you don't see them as much. And like creating, because there is like, you can like to create actual horror, nothing is scarier than the unknown. So it's like not knowing what it is that you're looking at is what makes the thing scary. But if you want to make the thing straight up in front in your face, there are two ways that you can go. right? Two ways. There's one way where it is you can go off of something that's a little more unsettling, and then there's the other way where you can make them like you can either make them like cooler, or you can make them more gross, right? If you're going with something more gross, you're gonna work with a lot of eldritch sort of ideas, where it's like you're gonna have a lot of kind of repeating gross patterns. You're gonna have like a lot of body horror. This is one where it's like you're gonna want it like ugly in like a way where like it kind of makes you want to throw up. And that's the point where you're gonna be like more is more a lot of the times. But if you want them to be more unsettling and you want them to be more like cool, then it's like you also want to take in that less is more sort of aspect, but you also want to so you want to take in that less is more aspect, but like you still want to make that concept like interesting, right? Deep sea creatures are a pretty good way to do that too. Make something scary with small eyes though, always. Yeah. Like there is a big difference between like having like, let's say that I did like say that I did like two faces here. Like, let's just say I drew like two dudes, right? And I'm kind of trying to make one of the faces more unsettling, and I go off of one that's like, oh, what the helly? Who? From who? Who is that? The username's fucked up. Thank you, SLID 41157F786AE3BE9, which that could be anybody because the username fucked up. Thank you for the $20. I am having a pretty damn good weekend. I appreciate you. Yeah, Slit is back because the usernames decided to not work. Who is it? You have no idea what it does that. Oh, it's you again, Miss Lou. Hello. Thank you so much. I appreciate the $20. I'm still unlocked again. Thank you for the $20. I appreciate you greatly. I also hope you are having a very good weekend. Thank you. I'm bad at saying thank you. I apologize. But yeah, I hope you're also having a good weekend. And thank you for popping into stream. Feel free to ask for any help. Or if you want a mini tutorial, I will do my best to help you. Okay. Let's do this face twice then. So like, let's say it's like we want like kind of like somebody who is like, we want somebody who's unsettling, right? We want somebody who's unsettling, we want somebody who's scary. And like, if you've been lurking for an hour, well, thank you for being here. The lurkers are the unseen heroes. And it's like, we think of like somebody, it's like, oh, it's like we want them to be scary and we want them to be so like, you know, like, oh, so I'm gonna give them like these big kind of angry looking eyes, right? And I should have drawn the other eye first. Let me do that first. So let's say we draw on the other eye. And then I make them angry. Make them bitches angry, and then I curl up the nose a little bit. And then I want him to be like kind of unnatural. Ooh, I'm gonna give him slits for irises instead. And he's like all demonic, and then I give them like the sharpies, the sharp teeth, and fucking whatever, right? And then it's like, that's whatever, right? It's not that great, you know. It's like it's kind of just whatever, right? We've added a lot more details than are necessary is the thing, right? It's like we've given them sharp teeth, we've given them extra eyes, we're giving the person a lot of information, and that's the problem, right? The less information we give somebody, the more, like, kind of unsettling it's gonna be. Right, so if I just, like, really... This is also kind of playing off of Uncanny Valley. It's like playing off of like that, like, less is more. As an expression, the one on the left does look pretty sick, thank you. And it's like maybe I don't even give them eyebrows. Maybe I just kind of... I should have actually made some, like, the pupils. It's like we're getting kind of a little too... It's difficult. It's like it's such a fine line. I'll give you an example of like how I draw kind of more uncanny eyes too, because I'm like this. It's difficult to do here on the spot. I'll always say as well, a smile is always scarier than grimace. Trust me. Doing a smile is always better for the creepy route. And do not give them sharp teeth. Trust me, the sharp teeth aspect does not work as well. You are much better off giving them just normal, way too normal, completely straight teeth. Trust me. It works way better. Right? The less information, the better. Right? It gives you kind of like a more... It gives you kind of like a more interesting, kind of unsettling vibe. And draw in those teeth. This is the one thing that you want to do. It's like draw in the teeth. But it's like, as a monster too, right? It's like if you have like a monster who is like... What do you call it? I want to make teeth extra freaky? Extra teeth, indeed! Something's off lesson, true. Yeah. Totally normal, but just lots of them. Yeah, just slightly too many teeth. It helps. That's also a good one. I feel like too many monsters smile, it's getting boring. Well, true, but also just the grimace is also super boring, too. It's sort of how you make it. It's sort of how you work with it. Because I find some people also just make monsters not have any expression, and that also works pretty well. It's difficult to find that balance. Body parts in places they don't belong, quote unquote. That's called body horror. Body horror is one of my favorite aspects, personally. It's like the difference between like drawing like big, spooky, scary, like I'll tell you right now, it's like skull for head is not that scary anymore. Like, object for a head is not that scary anymore. It is like horror kind of requires like an extension of like your imagination, and it's like you really cannot give yourself limits. Like you really got to be weird about it. And it's like the weirder you are, usually the better it ends up. It's like that's a good kind of way to think about it too. Yeah. Here, I'll I only really render out eyes when I do like vent art. Like when I draw things like to vent is when I render out eyes. So I remember I was like, I did this one forever ago. I'm like, I really liked the way that I did this one. Frankly, if I really wanted to make it extra scary, I probably wouldn't have added the pupils here. I think it actually would have been better, like, completely without them. Like, if I was to do this again. And then that kind of gives, like, that... Whoa, that added so much, right? It's like there's less information there. It's like it added, like, it kind of took away from it. But, like, I wasn't trying to be, like, horrifying. This was vent art for me. And it's, like, just this, right? This alone gives you enough information. It's like there's 2 eyes here, and then the impression of like, a body. And that's, like, all you need, right? And that, like, kind of gives you that sort of vibe. There was another one that I did that was similar to this. Yeah, I called these angle jitter. That's what I called these pieces, right? It's like you kind of, like, I wanted that juxtaposition between, like, really, like, realistic eyes without, like, it's like having the, like, realistic eyes without any, like, realism to the body. No, because you see, veins add too much. It's like, hello, drawing in veins, like, if you were to, like, add in, like, a bunch of, like, little veins like this, it's like, that's too much now, right? And it's like, it's giving you too much information, and it's also adding in too much, like, additional that doesn't need to be there, right? By them being completely normal eyes, you are thinking, like, what? You are letting your imagination run more than the illustration is giving you information, right? And it is, like, a big thing about horror is, like, a big thing that, like, a lot of, like, horror writers and horror artists understand is that you will never create anything more terrifying than what the viewer's imagination will come up with. Because it's, like, what the viewer will make of something, like, what they are gonna end up wondering is what their version of worst case scenario is, right? You don't know that for every single person, so why don't you just leave it up to them, right? And that's sort of, like, the idea of that less is more with horror, because, like, the less information that you give, the stronger that the terror is going to be, right? It's like, if you do too much, you're doing too much, right? It's like you kind of have to leave a lot to the imagination. You gotta leave a lot of what ifs, because that's what kind of brings it up, you know? But how did I get comfortable with eyes? Frankly, it is, like, drawing those eyes is working subtractively. So if you don't know how subtractive work is, it is starting, like, smaller and then building it back up. So, like, I could do one of those eyes right now. Like, what I like to do, it requires, like, you start with, like, a really dark sort of base to begin with. And it's like, there's no sketch, you kind of just go straight into it. It's like you kind of have to work backwards completely. It's definitely not going to be as good as those other guys, but, like, it's like you kind of have to work starting with the dark. And then, like, you build it back up. I haven't done one of those in so long, though. Like, I haven't needed to. I've done it a couple times in, like, the easy way to do it. Like, if I was to do, like, the quote-unquote easy way, is it's, like, you just draw in the sclera. It's like you draw in the sclera portion. And, like, that's all you need. It's like, that's another way to kind of give, like, a really simple impression of an eye. Alright, you zoom out. That's an eye, bro. Right? And that's, like, that's all you really need. But yeah, it's like, that's the simple way to do it, but then it's like, you can also, like, it's like if I was to do it this way. It's like you start by rendering that a little bit,
And, like, you slowly start to build it up more and more. It's like you don't start with the max and then bring it down. It's like you start with as little as possible, and then you bring it up slowly. And then I'm gonna work with brown because I like to work with brown eyes. Right, this is kind of like a quick, shitty way of doing it, but... And then it's like you would also have the water line too. So you don't want to forget that. Or else you lose a lot of information. And it's like, you could smooth it out more, too, if you really wanted to. Like, I like to leave, like, my brush strokes in, personally. That's a me thing. Right? It's kind of shitty, but it's like, it does the job. And it's like kind of working subtractively in a way. And it's like you can, if you really wanted to as well, you can like get a little eye shine there too, if you wanted to. You don't have to, but like you can. I already talked about faster drawing. I spoke about that in the beginning. Oh, how do you simplify them? Oh, I did that a little bit earlier too. Like you just work straight from gray. Like this. That's still an eye. You zoom out, that's still an eye, right? Now, don't apologize. This is also a YouTube video live stream. This is a YouTube live stream, so you can rewind if you want to listen to it. It's up there. There's always VODs, so if you want to listen to it again, it'll be up here later. Right? So, that's a kind of like simple way to do that. Ugh. Expressive eyes in perspective. Eyes in perspective in general, like, the best way to think of an eye is if you think of the eye as like an eyeball, a sphere, right? It's like, don't think of it as like, don't think of it as a flat thing. Eyes are spheres, right? So it's like if we have that and we've got like our eyeball and like our pupil back there, right? When we are drawing eyes in, oops. We are drawing eyes in perspective. Of any kind, we kind of just have to think of them as like that spherical shape. And then you kind of also have to understand how lids will land on the eye. I always like to think of it as like a piranha plant lips for how like eyelids will land on the eye. So like if we are looking at the eye from above. Like, we have, like, our lips that will go around there. We can have, like, if it's, like, a half-lidded thing, like, you can, like, drop the upper lid. If they're, like, wide-eyed, then the mouth is just opened up wider, right? And it's, like, how you would translate that. It's, like, if this is, like, say we're, like, looking down on top of all of these guys. It's, like, we kind of have, like, our neutral eye. Right? We have the eye that's like half-lidded. Like this, right? And then we have like our eye that's opened way up. Like this. Right? You kind of just have to understand the eye in those multiple sort of frames. And frankly, it's not the eye, like, eyes are part of it. It's your eyebrows that are gonna like change that expression like crazy, right? So it's like, because like you can have like this eye here can be surprise, it can be anger, it could be fear. The thing that will change that is the eyebrow. That's anger. That's surprise. That's fear, right? And then it's like that's the brow doing the work, not necessarily the eye itself, right? Same thing with here. It's like this could be anger, this could be sadness, this could be confusion, right? It's like it all depends on what angle you decide to put that eyebrow in. Right? And even the smallest change can change just exactly what that expression feels like. It's like this could be completely neutral. Or this could be like kind of contemplative. Or this can be like properly sort of mad. Right? This can be like concerned or sad. Sad, I would change the eye a little bit more too, but within that way, it is the eyebrow that gives you all of that expression, right? It's like you kind of have to couple the two together, and then that will help you with like the expressiveness of the eye specifically, right? The eyebrow, never discount your eyebrows. They are going to be doing 90% of the work all the time, you know? Comic composition is interesting because comic composition takes a lot of knowledge. There's a lot of things to comic composition. The best tips that I can give you, just to kind of summarize them and not have it take, like, because normally when I would teach comics, it takes like several days, because it's like multi-hours long lessons. But like the best advice that I can give you is to understand what direction you want the readers to be reading in, right? And the two things that you're going to be using for that are the illustrations themselves, the three things. The illustrations themselves, the positioning of your panels, and what direction your bubbles are going in, and how you position them as a whole. So like, let's say like, 2 weeks of grinding, yep, that's about right. I'm not doing a 72-hour stream, you will never get me to do that. But I'll pull up some comics of mine to show you. Yeah, of course. Oh, whoops. Does anyone know? Absolutely not. I'll pull up some kind of bubble heavy ones. Right? I keep on pulling up this one because I just really like this comic, right? So it's like with this one, right? on average, you have an American comic, it's like you'll start with your top left and with your bottom right, right? So it's like our eyes are naturally gonna go through the canvas kind of like this, with this motion. And you could use several things with that. With this one, it's very basic. It's like we are using both the panels and the bubbles in turn. So it's like we start up at the top left, so the first bubble that we get to see is this guy, right? Because the height of this one is higher than this one, we're automatically going to go here first, right? We are also using the fact that these characters, you can see their feet, the direction that they're moving in, so we're going to want to move in this direction to begin with, right? So we start here, and we continue here. We have this part of the panel crossing over on here. I'll use a brighter one. You can see it crossing over here, so our eyes automatically want to go here. Our eyes will lead towards first, so we start to move downwards here. And because we're still in the same panel, we follow who said this, so we follow down to Loon, which then we go down into this bubble and this bubble. And then just again, it's like the idea of reading left to right, this one first, and then we come down here. From here, we use these bubbles to lead us across this hallway, right? So it's like the way that I've done this is it's all one hallway, but it's like, it's almost like the characters are walking to the door that they need to get to. So it's like, start here, move across, the bubbles are crossing over each panel, and then we end off with Loon saying this. We use cord to come down to this bubble. And then this one is self-explanatory, so we start here. The finger gun kind of points towards corn, that brings us back up, we end right here, right? So it's like composition with comics is all about leading you around the scene, right? And you want to make sure that you are leading the viewers in the correct direction, right? It's the same thing here. It's like we kind of have this big sort of bubble that leads us into this one. We have two panels of straight silence, but it is just left to right, so it's like we read these two, it gives us the idea of a pause, and then we get down to these guys here, and then this is very kind of basic sort of like reading, right? Nothing too intelligent there. How many panels per page? It does not matter. It is whatever you feel will work narratively and visually, because it's like comics have a lot of nuance, and comics have a lot of per artist rules. It's difficult to say. It is difficult to say how many panels per page, because sometimes you have no panels per page. Sometimes you have 1, sometimes you have 7, sometimes you have 2, sometimes you have 12, right? And it is like, it depends on each sort of comic that you do, because you can have like full page spreads, you can have ones where there's only like 2, and it's like it's up to you, really. I have experience drawing cities from an airplane view, and perspective is important, but I struggle with implied detail. Cities from an airplane view. You did your first attempt at comics yesterday. I'm so proud of you. Hang on, I just saw somebody else's that asked for something else before that, so I'll get to that. Do you have any tips on color selection or composition? I always feel like black and white sketches look better. It's all about value. Before you pick your colors, you have to think about your values. And values are just like how light and dark a color is. So it's like when you are working with your color, you want to make sure that you are sort of grouping your values together in a way where things become sort of readable. And that is also just understanding what is meant to be light and what is meant to be dark. Let's take this guy, for example. It's like, I understood that this was going to be like kind of grassy, kind of mossy, right? But it's like there are things that I want you to look at. And it's like the big things are like the sides of these buildings here and corn on the ground right here. So what I did is everything else is much darker, whereas these sort of like spots are much lighter. If I was to do my little trick here. Come on. There we go. And I zoom out of this bad boy. Right? It is still all the way out here. It is still easy to tell things that pop out. You might not be able to see exactly what they are, but you can see where your values are grouped, right? So it's without black and white, with black and white, right? And it is, so it's less about what actual colors you choose. It's more about the values that are associated with them. And it's all about, like, how you're gonna make things contrast against each other, right? So, like, even if it wasn't values that you were paying attention to, having certain things be lighter and having certain things be darker, and, like, picking one of those to have your, like, main focal point be a part of. What you could also do is do that with hues, but that's a lot more complicated. It is much easier to group values by comparison to grouping hues and ignoring value altogether. But that's my advice. It doesn't matter what colors you pick, it matters what values you pick. But yeah, cities from an airplane view. I mean, if you kind of look at my starting soon screen, you see, you see blocks. It's a lot of blocks, a lot of blocks, you know? Yeah, of course. A lot of blocks, a lot of bricks, maybe some windows here and there. If you're doing a city from above, it's a lot of squares, like if you're looking completely top down. Like, implied detail, frankly, if you are doing a city where, like, you don't want to see all of the buildings, it is a lot. Yeah. Here, I'll go back to it. Yeah. You see there's fish moving around. I like flying fish. I like the concept of floating fish and, like, fish moving in the sky. So I was like, I kind of wanted to make a city with, like, a bunch of fish going on in there. I thought that it would be cute. Same thing with the ending screen. Like, you can see, like, this fish. It's the same fish. It's just they're harder to spot, just because of the night sky. But, like, you can also see the windows in the back there. The stream's not ending, I promise. I was just showing that off. But, like, with cities, like, if you're drawing them from above, right, and you have, like, kind of, like, a city in the background, right, just, like, if it is, like, just, if it's in the dark, right, you're at night, all you need are windows, frankly, right? You get a bunch of windows, and you put that in there, blur it, boom, city, right, and you're looking at it from above, right? The fact that you can see all the city bits from this kind of, like, view, it's like it implies that they're in, like, a high-rise, right, of some kind. If you want, like, the actual, like, tops of building, it's a bunch of squares, and then, like, add light coming up from beneath, because, like, that's a whole other thing, though. That's, like, kind of complicated. I wouldn't, like, I would have to figure out how to do that on the spot, because I've never really done an angle like that, but, like, if I had to kind of, like, do that, it'd probably be, like, I would start, like, with something like this, and then I kind of just vary. I have a lot of city brushes. Like, I don't really, like, draw in cities anymore. Actually wouldn't start with something this light, so I gotta start with something like this. And then it's like I would go back in with, like, a bunch of the tops of buildings, kind of like this. Gotta make sure that they're still kind of, like, in that grid sort of format. Maybe. It's like, this is tough to do because, like, I've never done this before. So I'm like, I don't really know how I would do it from, like, the top down view. It's like, the big thing to note is just that it would be, like, the top of the buildings themselves would be darker. And then it's like, you would have, like, light that would slowly make its way up the sides of the buildings and stuff, because it's like the stuff, frankly, that is nice and bright are the windows on the buildings and the lights from the street, right? So it's like you'd have something kind of like this, and then it's like slowly the light would come up from below. It'd be something akin to that. You know what I mean? So it would be something akin to that. Like, if you saw this... Oh, this is the PSD. Okay, hang on. Can I... Oh, no, I did it all blurred from the start. But you can kind of see. So it's like I have, like, another layer here that makes, like, the city lights, like, because we have light pollution, it's like you want to make sure that it is, like, it starts getting brighter the darker, like, the lower you get onto the city. And then it's like, you have, like, the actual city itself. Yeah, it's just like a whole thing. The back here. Yeah. That's so funny without the line art. Yeah, this is what this looks like without any of the... without any of the lighting applied. So there you go. If you'd never before seen, I guess. But yeah, like with all the extra rendering and stuff. It's like it really changes the vibe, doesn't it? But yeah, so like you can kind of see what that is, right? It's like you see sort of like how that city works. So it's like from the side, frankly, I recommend like just get a city brush, man. But it is like it is like a thing to kind of like understand how that city is meant to look from the distance, I suppose. Was it your animation? Yeah, I did it. If you want, if you want to see how I did the fish, it's so jank. Like all that it is. Here, I'll show you. Yeah, all that it is it's just like there's a blank sky, and then I have like there's like a PNG of buildings, and then a PNG of fish, and then a second PNG of littler fish, and then I have it in a like I have it in a Sony Vegas file, and they're just moving. It's a scroller. Like, it just scrolls along on the side. That's it. Like, it's not... it's literally nothing, like, interesting. Like, it's not like... It's not like it's, like, super... fucking, like, crazy. Like, it is, like, genuinely, like... It's just, you can see it, right? They're just PNGs moving from one side to the other, and it is, like, perfectly looped. Like, that's all that it is, really. Like, it's all kind of that, just looping. But yeah. Thank you. Sorry that I couldn't give you a better tutorial on this one. Like, I've never really done a city directly from the top. But I'm, like... Other than, like, those kind of tips, I would also say to just look up reference as well. It's like, look up helicopter view cities if you need it from directly the top. Because I've never done it before, so I have no clue. I don't really have experience. Transparent things like jellyfish, water, and windows. Oh dear. The thing is that every single one of those I would approach differently. Jellyfish. Jellyfish, what I would probably do is, like, I would, like... It's like, this is, like, my lazy version. Is, like, I have, like, just kind of, like... the jellyfish sort of form. Yeah, frankly, I would do all of those differently. It's like I have, like, the jellyfish form, and then I would just kind of erase the center a little bit. Like this. And it's like, that's what I would call it with, like, the jellyfish. Because it's like, a jellyfish is, like, a rounded sort of form. So it's like, as you sort of get closer to the edge of, like, a rounded form, it's the same concept of, like, a glass. Like a water glass. Say it's like we have like a water glass or like a jellyfish or something, and you're looking at it from this side, right? The idea is like right here, like these sort of sides of the glass are where the glass is going to be the thinnest, right? But as you are looking directly on the sides of the glass here, it's going to appear thicker because it's almost like more glass is layering on top of itself, which is why you get that kind of like distortion with glasses at the edges, because it's like the glass is layering on top of itself, so there's more for you to perceive looking through, right? So the same thing with the jellyfish. Like the edge of the jellyfish will get like darker because you have more glass layering in on itself, you know? So it's like it kind of does that magic. Water is case by case, and I am actually going to refrain from giving a water tutorial because I do not know how to teach water. I have been told to teach water many times, and each time I feel anxious because I don't know how to teach how to draw water. I kinda just do it based on vibes every time. But the big thing to note, I guess, is that you don't want to smooth it much. Like, don't soft shade it a lot. Like, you're gonna want to keep it, like, nice and sharp, all of your shadows and all of your light. Because, like, water also depends on what angle you're looking at it at, and water depends on, like, how murky it is, and how thick it is, and that kind of thing. I can show you a recent commission I did, and I can tell you how I worked through it, because that's as good as I can give you. Unfortunately, because I'm like, water for me is so case by case that I'm like, I don't know how to do it every single time. But also, like, so, like, let's take this one, for example. Like, what I did was I had it, so it's, like, because it's very shallow water, like, I didn't mind making it completely transparent in a lot of areas. I only added really sharp highlights like this on ripples, so it's, like, it gives that idea of, like, the water sort of rippling and reflecting, and the rest of it I kind of just left alone. I let the water distort the edges of the body that were within there because of, like, the ripples. It was like I matched sort of, like, the ripple pattern coming off of the body. So it's like I was kind of working off of what sort of, like, movement was already happening there. It's, again, like, same here. It's like you can see how the pool tile sort of manipulates itself. And then, like, this... But this reflection here is just based off of, like, the angle that you're looking at the water. So it's, like, sometimes you will have, like, if you are not looking at the water directly head on, if you were looking at it at an angle, I saw this somewhere, it's like if you're looking at the water at an angle, it will reflect the sky. So that's kind of what's happening here, is it's like it is reflecting the light above. So then you get, like, this, like, really large swath of highlight that just gets less strong as you get closer, because you're starting to look... Like, over here is, like, more of an intense angle, but here it's like you're looking more directly down onto the water, so it's like the strength of that reflection diminishes. And then it's like this also implies, these edges here also imply that they're under a tree of some kind, so it's like a shadow is casting on top, so you don't get that reflection. So it's like, it's like, like, that's how I dealt with this water, but that's not how I deal with all water. So, like, if I was to show you a different water one that I did of the ocean, because, like, water is so case by case for me. Where is that other one I did of the ocean? Somebody's Pokemon commission. This one. So, like, this one, I was like, I wanted to keep the water very cartoony, so I'm like, I didn't feel like doing all that reflectiveness, and the water wasn't a huge part, so I stuck with this kind of, like, greenish, cyanish color of, like, an oceanic sort of vibe, and then, like, as it slowly creeps up onto the beach, like, it gets more and more transparent, but it's, like, it because, like, as it gets deeper, that, like, color gets deeper, so it's like the gradient kind of goes back into the ocean, right? So it's like that's also another way that I've chosen to handle water. So, like, I'm sorry that I'm sorry I can't give you a better answer. Because I do it different every time. I kind of go based off of vibes and, like, what I choose and want to do for water specifically, because I'm like, I'm not good at teaching water, frankly, you know? Windows are clear. Windows are clear if you're looking head on, but if you kind of have them at an angle, just have them reflect the sky. That's the best way that I can describe them, frankly. Or if it's nighttime, either have light coming through the back of them or just have them completely dark. That's also how I would do it. But if they're a little bit dirty, try to start at the edges of the window and move your way inwards. It's like, don't have it directly in the center. It's like start from the corners and have it be dirtier as it goes into the center. She's literally good at everything. Don't let her gaslight you. She means she doesn't have the time or energy to teach every single reason water does things. No, man, I genuinely don't know how it works. I kind of just look at reference and go, okay. And go like, that works, I guess. I'm like, that's believable enough, isn't it? Because there's also, like, technique on how to draw it, and I feel like the technique that I use is different every time. So I'm like, I feel bad because I don't always know how to do that technique, you know? Tips on line weight. I struggle on knowing where to use thick versus thin, where to fade the lines out, etc. I saw somebody say once, so, like, I saw somebody say, like, explain it really well, and they said that, like, lines get thicker where the dust collects, and that's a really good way to explain it. So, like, the way that I kind of think of it is it's, like, lines, like, if you have, let me show you a recent one that I did. Let me take this bad boy. I turned off the blur layer on this one for some reason. So, like, areas where the dust collects, quote unquote. So corners and, like, edges of things, and, like, where areas will, like, thicken up here, right? So it's like if you have, like, so, like, right here, right? It's like you can see, like, the lines get a little bit thicker here, and they thin out on the side of the nose, and they thicken back up as you get close to the edge of the lip here, right? So it's like, it's where the quote-unquote dust collects, is a good way to think about it, you know? Another way you can think about it is it's like, it depends on, like, your line art hierarchy. So line art hierarchy, it starts at the overall silhouette. So generally you want your overall silhouette of your character to have the thicker line art so you can easily identify what it is that you're looking at. Your second thickest lines will be bigger areas. So it's like, let's say with Cricket, it's like we have Cricket's hair, and then we have their ear separation, and the separation between, like, the horn, and the separation between, like, the collar that goes into the shirt, right? It's like that. Those are, like, bigger sections. Those will have, like, the second thickest lines. You can have, like, some of your thinner lines, which are, like, detail work and clothing folds, right? So these should be very, very thin. It's like you don't want them to overtake stuff. Like skin folds and stuff like that should be very thin as well. It's like you don't want them to overtake anything, you just kind of want them to be there. But it's like the thickest lines that you have will usually be just the overall silhouette of the character, and then slowly as you make your way inwards, they should get thinner and thinner and thinner, because it's like you don't want it to overtake. And obviously there are exceptions. Like, I really love to do, like, this black work sort of shading with my lines. It's very comic-y. It's like just kind of like a choice that I like to do. So it's like I like to have, like, these big swaths of black every once in a while, just like I feel like it gives, like, a little bit more energy. That's a personal choice, you don't have to do that. But yeah, that's my sort of, like, short explanation for that one. How do Lonnie and 𝘰𝘰𝘪𝘯 even interact? They're very silly. I love Lonnie, like, if Cricket and Takan are kind of like how Crow and I interact with each other, Lonnie and 𝘰𝘰𝘪𝑯 are like... Lonnie and 𝘰𝘰𝘪𝑯 are very elegant. Like, they interact very elegantly. They're very kind to each other. They're very mature sort of people. Like, imagine the most intimidating, beautiful kind of pair of, like, 30-year-olds you've ever met, and that's sort of how Lonnie and 𝘰𝘰𝘪𝑯 interact. Like, they are these, like, imagine beautiful, sophisticated 30-year-olds that are, like, you can't tell if they're just, like, nice or they have a lot of money, and, like, that, like, scares you. That's sort of how Lonnie and 𝘰𝘰𝘪𝑯 interact. That's the best way to to describe them, I think. I'm not doing vehicles. That's not happening. Sorry. It's like, how to draw vehicles, you won't? You're right, I won't. Simplifying clouds is actually really easy. So I love to simplify clouds. Clouds are a ton of fun. Clouds always look best when you have the bottom of them be flatter than the top of them. So it's like, if I were to do a cloud, what I like to do is I like to do like this sort of shape. I like this brush a lot for clouds. It's like I sort of just simplify it down like this. And then like I take this shape, the shade of the sky, I kind of turn it down a little bit. Oops. And then I give the cloud some light shading like this if I want to. But it's like, it's a nice sort of like simple way to do cloud, right? It works best when it is flatter on the bottom than it is on the top. And then you can like even do this a little bit of bounce light if you want. But yeah, that's an easy way to do a cloud. You can also like frankly, it's like just give it them this like very puffy sort of like vibe. I think works best. And it's like it gives you a nice sort of like energy, I think, you know. Sometimes you can even make your shadows like this, and that's also kind of like a nice like cloud sort of like shadow form. It's like you can keep them pure white if you want to. I don't like doing that. I only keep them pure white if they're like wisps. Like if it's just like a wisp across the sky, then I like it being like just pure white. Commission sheet. Commission sheets, how I did mine, so like I wanted mine to be interesting, but I wanted it to be simple. Like I wanted it to be like a kind of like graphic design conscious sort of commission sheet. The big thing is you don't want them to be too intimidating. So I'm like, for me it's like you want them, it's like a graphic design thing. It's like you want them, what do you want them to look at first? Right? So for me, it's like, oh, this is the character art section, right? You look at the character art section, and then you have, like, examples are big and loud, and you want that first. And then the big thing that you want is just your most important prices, right? So it's like a bust is 60, half body is 85, full body is 120, right? And then there's like an additional section. This isn't super important because it's like for character art, this is the big important stuff. There's an additional section. So it's like if you want an additional bust, it's an additional 45, additional half body is 70, additional full body is 100. Then you also have 35 for pets and animals, 50, like minimum 50 for minor backgrounds, and 150 for character sheets. And then the fine print, all prices are subject to complexity fees, right? So it could be more expensive than this, but it's like, of order of like what is most important to least important, you change your text size and try to keep it to 1 to 2 fonts maximum. Make sure everything's readable, and always try to include examples. This is like the big thing. Usually it's like as long as people can read it, it works well. It's like, that's the character one, but then it's like for backgrounds, I do something like this. So it's like, there's like sections of like backgrounds and what my backgrounds entail. I'd probably fix this up. I'm going to change this one anyway. I'm discontinuing my background art one. I'm going to change it for YouTube thumbnails. Because frankly, it's like people don't commission me for background art much anyway, and I'm probably going to truncate it with character art. What program did I use to make this? Photoshop. I do everything in the same program. I do everything in Photoshop. Like this is just, I just took PNGs and just organized them in Photoshop, and that's all I did. I just typed it all out, used fonts and whatever. It's all just Photoshop. Yeah. Everyone just wants their characters in the void, it's true. Yeah, a lot of people just want their characters in the void. But yeah, it's really easy to just do this in any digital art program. I'll show you how I did it. Like, it's just, like, if I take the character art PSD, like, there is, like, a full, like, folder for the actual, like, Corrin and his tiger, but it's, like, for the actual, like, yeah, it's like, it's just like text and stuff. Text and bubbles. It's like a whole like folder that's just full of like text for these guys as well. The samples, all that it is, so it's like, this is just like a big gradient that I put off to the side. So it's like, it looks like they're kind of fading away as it gets to corn, but there's like another example right here. It's just to have more of that. And it's like, I just made like kind of diagonal shapes, copy pasted them, and then just had PNGs of the, like if I unclip this, like it's like the full illustration is here. I just picked a section and clipped it to that shape, and that's it. So then it's like it stays in that section, you know? Listen to music, Photoshop. Tomodachi Life, Photoshop. Buying stuff on eBay, believe it or not, Photoshop. I hope not. Don't Photoshop your eBay listings. But yeah, it's a lot easier than it looks, like for mine. Like I just found very simple solutions. But like you don't have to do it like mine either. Like there's like, I wanted this kind of sleek look. Some people like to make theirs super like simple with like a couple of like their samples are completely separate from their sheet. I saw somebody whose commission sheet was literally like it was like a white square, and they were like, they had like, it was like, they drew just a little guy like this, and they were like, one person is like $70, and then they drew him again, but with a friend, and they were like, two people is $130 or something like that. Like they did that, and then like they had like 3 people, and then they had their commissions on like another slide. Like they didn't even have it as part of the commission sheet. So it's like, you could do that too. It's like, there's just a lot of, oh yeah. No, it's like, you can do this in CSP as well. Like, it's not difficult at all. And it's like, it depends on like what kind of person you are. It's like what you want to show off, and like what kind of personality you as like an artist have. And like, there's a bunch of like graphic design stuff with it as well, which I am not good at teaching because I'm not good at teaching graphic design. But yeah. How do I personally do anatomy? Okay, give me a second. I need to take a drink of water. My voice hurts a little bit. It's literally so funny. The YouTube auto-translate is back. So that thank yous was translated to thank you very much. Like, yeah, man, I know. Thank you, YouTube, but I'm aware. Don't worry. Yeah, so you are supposed to just ask in chat if you have any questions. I'm so sorry. I went to go and open the Discord. I'm bringing this over. Dev, what is this? This is awesome. This is so funny. So true. Do you want to know a fun fact about my spine, actually? Like, my spine doesn't curve like this anymore. My spine right now actually looks like this. Like, my spine does not have a curve. Like, that's what, like, part of my scoliosis is that I do not have a curve anymore, and it leans to the side. Like, it is like, if I was to draw, like, how my spine naturally is, like, if it is from the side here, like, my lumbar does this. Like, I just kind of do this with my natural spine. And then, like, if I am leaning, like, if you're looking at me from the front, my spine does this magic. Like, that's what my body looks like right now. Yeah. Yeah, you see why I need, like 12 weeks of treatment, right? Oh, girl bends to the right when she walks. Yes, I do, bruh! I absolutely do! It's visible. It's easy to look at. My best friend, when they saw me for the first time in a while, they were like, you, like, lean. I'm like, oh, yeah, I do. You probably sit perfectly straight. No, I do not. I lean very heavily, actually. I do my best not to lean, but, like, I find myself leaning just because, like, if I stand up straight for too long, I can feel my leg going numb. So it's really cool and awesome. Help! No, that's so mean to me. But yeah, how I personally do anatomy, so I really love exaggeration, but I also love, yeah, no, it's rough. But, I am, call me, huh? But yeah. So for how I personally do anatomy, I am very much, I love to work off of fairly realistic anatomy. Like, I love to work off of, like, because I love the science of art, right? And I'm like, I love to always take into account how something would work in real life and, like, the scientific anatomy behind it. So I'm like, as much as I love exaggeration, I also really want to make sure that my bodies feel very weighty and they feel like they, like, could exist, right? Like, obviously there is some exaggeration to it, but it is, like, bootleg. I'll find you. I'm kidding. I will not do that. I'll find you in Minecraft. But it's like, let's say, like, I took, like, a cricket because I love drawing cricket. Like, cricket is a chubbier character. I am, like, I love drawing a cricket so much. But cricket is, like, a much chubbier sort of body type. They're very much like an upside down sort of pear, or like an apple kind of like body type. And it's like, I like always start off with the, like, I always start off with the head as well, because it's like, catch me outside Whole Foods, ew. It's like, okay, tell me you have money, I guess. It's like, I always start with the head because the head usually is, I'm gonna, hang on. I've started sketching with the heart around for no particular reason. I've kind of started to like how it looks. But I'm like, I use, like, the head as, like, a guide for the rest of the proportioning. It's like cricket, I like to kind of have a rounder, sort of smaller face. My baby! My eraser so small. Oh, it's a soft. Why did I do that? But it's like cricket specifically, it's like I make sure their neck is a little bit wider. Like, I don't give them a double chin per se, but it's like I like to, it's like widening up the neck a little bit. It's like I start with like the rib cage sort of form, which is like smaller, but then it's like I jump sort of straight into, like, I don't do a lot of like, what do you call it? I don't do a lot of like construction forms or anything like that. I sort of jump straight into the anatomy of the character. So it's like cricket again is like a chubbier sort of character. So it's like I jump sort of straight into the shape of the tummy, right? And it's like I want to, like, I keep the, like, fat fold in mind here, so it's like there's going to be a little bit of overlap on the center of the stomach. As it's like we get to the belly button part. And then it's like, and then in my head I'm still thinking, like, okay, it's like what other, it's like that's the stomach part done, it's like that's the chest part done. And it's like, okay, so then it's like, how do we get into the legs? So I think of like the muscle on the outside. It's like, okay, it's like right here is like the end of like this is where like the sides, like this is the love handle kind of portion. And then we would have like a section for the like, the muscle that rests like, it's the cut between like the external obliques and then like the beginning of the leg muscle. It's like right here is the, oh Lord, have mercy on my soul. I think it's the gluteus minimus is right there. That goes into the maximus, which is the butt, right? But it's like, I like to exaggerate Cricket's hips a lot, so it's like Cricket is very well gifted in the ass. So it's like we kind of have like a really large sort of form here that matches that. So it's like that's where like the exaggeration is with Cricket. We go down to the thigh, and then we think of like the thigh, like the quads, they kind of like will overlap with, because joints don't have any fat that grow on them. That's a good thing to note for everybody. Joints do not have fat that grow on them, so instead it's like you'll have like very intense cuts between like different forms of the body, but you still want to make sure that things flow. So it's like you have like this sort of like fatty area that goes over top of the patella, that goes down into the kind of like calf area down here. Right? It's like I still want things to feel realistic but exaggerated, right? I'm like, I like to kind of make sure that you remember that this is a drawing, but I don't want it to be so far away from reality that like it's like annoying. You know what I mean? I would actually end up making like, I'm like, Cricket is actually very difficult sometimes too. So like I'm looking at this, I would shorten this a little bit more as well. It's like their legs should be shorter than this. A very small character. Small in terms of height. Right, and then it's like when I get to the arms, name is Cricket, nothing quiet about them. Cake by cake. Yep, that's right. And then it's like I have to remember the upper arm as well. I actually reference my own arms when I draw Cricket, because they have I have like the flabby kind of chubby upper arm as well. So it's like the upper arm kind of like sags like this a little bit as we get into the sort of form here. And in my head as well, I'm constantly thinking of like the average like measuring kind of like shapes of things. So it's like, oh yeah, it's like you have your elbow that sort of aligns with the belly button, fingers are like a halfway to a third down the thigh, right? So it's like I am very like yes, there's like exaggeration about the way that I draw my characters and like the way that I work with anatomy, but like I am thinking of a lot of like realistic techniques in the back of my head too. Like I'm like, I don't want them, like I don't like work with a lot of like oversimplification unless I am drawing like chibis or something like that. Like I have like a chibi version that I draw a lot of characters in sometimes, which is very inspired by Panty and Stocking actually. Because I love the way they handle their anatomy in that anime. So if I was to draw Cricket again in that sort of like more chibi way of working, like it's like I sort of, the big thing that I simplify down is like the limbs. So it's like I keep the overall like body form the same. It's like I don't, it's like just because it is simpler does not mean that everybody gets the same shape of the body. But then it's like I get to the legs and it's like I do like this. It's like everybody kind of gets like My Little Pony hooves. Right, like this is the other way that I work with like a really simplified sort of like chibi-esque body. You know what I mean? So it's like there's this kind of like simple way. That I like work with it, so it's like it's just simplifying down some of the extremities is all that it is, but it's not like super different, I suppose. Every pony gets hooves, yippee! But yeah. Do I have an easier way to draw embroidery? No. Embroidery, if I am to draw... MLP hooves are peak shape, true. If I was to have, like, a simple way to draw embroidery, frankly, I would just draw the shapes and not worry about the seam lines. Like, if I wanted to really simplify it out, like, if I was to have, like, say, like, there was, like a sleeve here, and I'm like, oh, I wanted to draw in, like, the embroidery of, like, say that there was, like, flowers at the end here. I'm like, I would just draw in the flowers and just say, yeah, it's embroidery. If you wanted to actually draw in the sewn part and make it look like it's sewn in there, no, there is no simplification. You gotta draw that yourself, and I'm sorry if you're gonna be doing that. That's my only thing that I can tell you is my condolences. That's all I can literally do for you. Is there a line art weight that I enjoy, and how do I study a reference in but just by looking at it? This is actually in my recent video. Hate trying them. It's so hard even if they're tiny. Yeah. It's like the best way that you can simplify it is like don't line it, just leave it to color only. And then if it's like individual threads, like don't. That's just my advice, don't. True, you could make a brush and warp it if you wanted to, like a stamp brush, and like warp the shape if you wanted to. Like that's also another way you could do it. Otherwise, I can't help you. Embroidery is one of those things that's like, there isn't really a shortcut per se. Like lace, there are like lots of lace brushes. Embroidery, you might just have to make your own brush, frankly. But yeah, for referencing line art weight, like it's actually in my recent video, like I talk about like what influenced my line weight, and what influenced my line art in general. And it's like two or three big. Oh, she's so cute. Thank you. It's Cricket, my D&D character. They might die next session. Okay, no, they won't die, but they might be on the road to later death. Next session. I'll talk about that in a sec. What was I saying? Line art. So for who inspires me, like my like 2 or 3 big guys that I really enjoyed was Jorge Jimenez, who's one of the artists for Jorge Jimenez is one of like the artists for DC that I really loved. Levizzo or Levi Pruitt was what inspired me to do thicker line work. And then Jeff Smith, who wrote Bone. That's also a really big influence for me. And it's just kind of like growing up with that sort of aesthetic and like understanding how they do their work is sort of like the big thing. It's not necessarily like, oh, I'm gonna look at it, I'm gonna copy it. It's just like that's sort of the vibe that I enjoy. And it's like understanding their techniques and understanding how they thicken their lines, how they thin them out. It's like Jorge Jimenez specifically, it's like he has like the very comic-y method of like using his lines as shadow and using them for texture and using them for things more than just outlining. So it's like look into that. And again, it's like for me, that's a me thing, right? Like I am like, those are the artists that I enjoy, right? And like that's not going to be the same for you. That's going to be different for every artist, right? Who influences you, who like will push you forward, who inspires you, right? And that is different per person, right? We'll know if Cricket dies if he gets a quick shonen backstory before his demise. No, so Cricket, okay. So that's the answer to that one. So it's not like it's like I'm just copying them. It's like it's what inspires me and it's what like what I enjoy. So I work similarly, you know. But I have like alterations that I do that make them more me. Drawing my D&D character right now. So yeah, Cricket is my tiefling cleric. They are the child of a human and an archfiend, and they are currently searching for their human father because they grew up alongside their archfiend mother. And Sunny, they were a very good mother. They were very kind and very sweet. But yeah, so Cricket, so this whole time we have been kind of learning about this like disease. It's called the granular decay. And Cricket, like, from all the people, so Cricket's father has been, like, researching it to try and, like, cure it, and, like, Cricket has been kind of following his paper trail to figure out what's been going on with him, and Cricket, a big thing that has kind of been consistent with every case of granular decay that we've come across has been, like, before they, like, die or before they, like, get the disease, they say they can see something seeping in through the walls. And, like, one of the things that they always say is, like, can you see it? Like, can you see it? And we haven't, to this point, we haven't seen it. We don't know what the hell they're talking about. Cricket saw it. Our session ended with Cricket seeing the thing seeping through the walls. So my DM warned me and was like, Jess, I need you to know, next session, the decision that you will make will be a very heavy deciding factor for your character moving forward. And I was like, you don't say. I was like, you don't say, huh? You don't say. And that was also right after they had like a huge intervention with Cricket and Dusk. There was the two of them, because those two characters are really funny because they're so different and yet they're like almost exactly the same. But yeah, there was like a huge intervention where it was like Cricket, the other party members were trying to tell Cricket like a sacrificial, like having a sort of martyrous sort of mindset, or like a self-sacrificial. Yeah, this was the last doodle. It's like, do you want to be stronger? That was pretty scary. But like having a self-sacrificial form of like love, like does not help the other party, is kind of like what that was, because it was like Cricket had said like they feel guilty because it's like their parents sacrificed everything for them. They spent 20 years apart, trying to make sure that Cricket was safe, and they feel really guilty about that, so they are also willing to sacrifice as much as they can so their parents can see each other again. And like they were like, the other party members were like, okay, but it's like if you sacrifice yourself, they'll have nothing but each other and no child again. And it's like, so it's like that Cricket is learning how to not. And it was Cricket also needs to get better at like expressing how they feel. Like they are like putting into words how they feel, because they are a lot better at like just like they'll kind of just cry and then not talk about anything. Sorry you went through all of that. I learned this from Glyn, but I think I learned it from you first. Literally, how dare my fiance. Frankly. Fuck you, bro. Yeah. So anyway, I might die sometime soon. That's gonna be crazy. It's okay. I won't. I'll just be better. I'll just be awesomer. I'll just be cooler. My fairy character just died, so I'm drawing my new one. Oh, good luck! I don't like having my characters die, so I, gotta figure it out. You won't die, I believe in you. Yeah, no, I don't have a backup character. I don't like having my characters die permanently, so, I will have it so, yeah, they don't die. They just won't. They won't. We'll just, like, don't mind the fact I'm the only party member that knows Revivify. Just, like, no, it'll be fine. I'll literally be okay. I'll literally be okay. Also, the disease takes like multiple years to set in. Fully. It starts off with your like extremities feeling sore and them hurting, and then slowly they start to disintegrate until you are like nothing but a stump, and then you die. Well, they'll be okay. Descend into demonhood? You mean ascend into demonhood? What, I just become like my mother? I could. Frankly. You're crazy! You're crazy, but like, no, they don't have it. Oh, Italy. Remember the things you picked up previously, the campaign? Listen, I'll save you somehow. What things? I didn't pick up nothing. I didn't get nothing. I just... It'll be crazy. No, it'll be, next session's gonna be sick. I'm excited. We were also told that we have to infiltrate a ball, so that's gonna be fun. I get to dress Cricket up in a fun little fancy outfit. When they live. I'm saying when, because I'm choosing Hope Core. Can't die if you just don't play again! No, it'll literally be okay. It'll literally be fine. It'll literally be okay. LOL. Something smelled awesome. I think somebody's baking in the house right now. I've been wanting to explore texture in my work. Are there artists I should take a look at? Frankly, it's up to you who you want to look for. I really love, who said that one again? Frosty MG. Frosty MG. Do you have any, like, are you more painterly? Are you more line art heavy? Like, do you have, like, kind of artists that you, like, gravitate towards already? That'll help me kind of give you artists to look at. Painterly, easy. My favorite painter is Nadia Kim and Kim Illustrate. She's really, really good. I also love Simon Stalenhag. Very classic, amazing painter. He is like the master of like less is more. And it'll look like really, really good zoomed out. I love, fuck, what's his name? Hang on. Ugh. Sorry, hang on. Don't mind me. I need to sign into my Behance again. My Adobe account. Marcus Lindgren. He did the backgrounds for Tiny Echo. Spelled Marcus and then Lindgren. Marcus Lindgren. I love his paintings as well. Really, really good painter. Who else? 𝘥𝘪𝘴𝘰𝘪𝘯, I really love her work. She's an amazing painter. She's got a really, really great, very painterly style. Yeah, those are some ones off the top of my head that I really love. Take a look at them. Oh, Devin L. Kurt's a classic. Yeah, just like you can look up all of those people as well. They're a great lot of people. Oh, Josh! Yes, Josh is also a really, really great painter. Yes, please take a look into him as well. But yeah. Like, Inking Lost, the guy I try to emulate these days is 𝘴𝘰𝘪𝘯. That name is so familiar. Who is that? Hang on. Yes. Yes, I do know this artist. If you like 𝘴𝘰𝘪𝘯, you might also like, oh god, what's their name? Oh no, it's literally in my brain and I don't know the name. Fuck, dude. Yeah. You've brought it up to me before? I'm so sorry, I don't remember. Yeah. Oh my god, why can't I remember their name? Lord have mercy. Nope, it's gone. It's gone. I don't remember his name. He's a mechanical artist. He does like a lot of like fantasy ships and like buildings and mechs and robots, and he has this really interesting, very cool etched sort of lighting style. He's like half digital, half traditional. He's really good. I can't remember his name for the life of me. Oh my god. Oh my god. If I remember it, I'll show it to you. Oh, was it? Okay. But if you want lining styles that's similar to this, you should look up the webcomic A Better Place. It's finished now, so you can read it from start to finish. I believe you can read it all on Tapastic for free. Or tapas.io. You can read it all there for free. It's a more traditional comic layout, but it is a really, really good comic. I highly recommend it. It's more, it's fantasy, psychological fantasy. It poses the idea of what good intentions with bad experience can lead to. So that's a really good one. Highly recommend. It's really helpful, of course. 𝘥𝘪𝘀𝘮𝑗𝘪𝑗𝑠. I don't know who that is. Oh! Wait, do I know this person? Have you shown them to me before? You might have. Yeah. I'll send it to you if I remember them. Cause his work is everywhere. My god, why can I not remember it right now? Yeah, okay. Yeah, cause I remembered the name, I couldn't remember exactly who they were. How to draw really fluid poses. Yes, so a big thing, so one thing that people tend to forget, and like it's told to you all the time, is one of those things where it's like you're told the concept. 𝘧𝘰𝘪𝘯𝘰𝘳𝘥? No, that's not it. I think it starts with a D. I think their name starts with a D. I think his name, he's a man. I think his name starts with a D. I could be like either it starts with a D or there's a D in there somewhere because he uses his full name. I can't remember. But it's not 𝘧𝘰𝘪𝘯𝘰𝘳𝘥. No, that's not it. But no. I think that you're told a lot, right? When you are drawing lines, there's an element of like the element line of elements and principles of design, right? A thing that they tell you is that horizontal and vertical lines promote stability, diagonal lines promote movement. Diagonal and curved lines. If you want a more fluid pose, you're going to use as many diagonal and curved lines as you can. Do not stick with perfectly straight edges, because the more perfectly straight edges you get, the less fluid it's going to feel. So it's like if you want like a pose that really feels like they are moving, get as many dynamic kind of like lines in there as you can. And dynamism comes from a line that is not perfectly straight. So there is that, and then you also want your poses to really feel like each sort of angle is flowing into itself, right? So it's like you want that sort of vibe of like kind of each angle of the body. I will be drawing Cricket again because I love my baby. But it's like you want that like feeling of like movement to be throughout. Yes, 𝘥𝘪𝘀𝘪𝘀𝑗𝑠 an amazing painterly artist. I remember when she first started making Countdown to Countdown, and I found her on Tapasio before, like when it was called Tapastic. I used to call it tapastic, and then I learned it was tapastic, and I was like, oh, I've been pronouncing it wrong this whole time. That was when Countdown to Countdown was in, like, a video game format by comparison to, like, a comic. But yeah, it's like you want to make sure that each form sort of flows into one another. Try not to have too many perfectly straight lines. You want to have a lot of diagonals. It's like you can kind of feel like everything sort of has a flow into itself. A big thing that you can practice is gesture. You know? It's like, always make sure that you kind of keep up the vibe for, like... And it's like, you never really want body parts to cut themselves off. You never want any part of the body to feel like it's being cut off. You kind of want it all to sort of feel like it is moving and it is all within itself, right? It's like you never want it to kind of feel like... Like, even the arm here, right? It's like, I can even push this more. I can, like, rotate this a little bit. So then it's like it's moving downwards a little bit more. It's like really kind of push the edge of that. It's like, give it so it's like it has more of a curve there. Right? Right, so it's like you can have, it's like this this angle here, this angle here. There's sort of like a different sort of opposing movements. There's this constant like flow throughout the body. It's like you never want it to be perfectly straight. Curve the tail here. This arm is curved. This arm, if you could see the rest of it, is bent back here. Right, it's like you never want a single part to feel stiff. It's like you don't want any abrupt cutoffs. Yeah. Yeah, more continuous lines, no abrupt cutoffs. Yeah, it's like you want that. You want there to feel like there is a lot of movement. And another thing that you can do, the faster you move, the more movement you will feel in the pose, right? Because it's like if you slow down and you're trying to get it perfect throughout the whole thing, that slowdown, you will be able to feel it. It's like you will be able to feel the lack of movement from the artist themselves. So it's like you need to like speed it up and make sure that you are like adding in the motion back into the artwork. Like you don't want it to be like missing, you know? Flow is essential, indeed, 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 indeed. How to draw a cricket named goat? What do you mean? A goat named cricket or a cricket named goat? Because those are two incredibly different things. Yeah. Da da da. I love the painterly style, but I have no idea how the artist did it. It's a lot of blending. It's like you kind of have the two colors and you just slowly blend each section back in there, but you don't over blend it. You have to like leave the brush stroke in there, you know? It's working with like a pressure by opacity brush. Tips for drawing when out in public. Be prepared for people to ask you questions. And, like, also always be prepared for the possibility that people will not like it if you choose to draw them. But most people actually really love it when you draw them. Like, if they see that you're drawing them, they're like, are you drawing me? And then they'll, like, hold, like, really still. It's either they'll, like, confront you, or they will just, you'll notice that they will stand extra still for you. It's actually kind of funny. Like, I remember when I was doing one of my, like, bus drawing exercises, there was an old man who was sitting there, and I kind of just started drawing him, and he, like, midway through, he kind of looked at me and he was like, are you drawing me? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, okay. And he, like, stood still. And I finished drawing, and he was like, can I have, or he was like, can I take a picture of it? And I was like, yeah, of course. And he, like, took a picture of, like, the drawing that I did of him. Big thing, though, if you are drawing a minor, you have to, if there is a parent there, you have to ask them. Because it's like, usually parents will be okay with it. I've had, because I was on a train recently, and there was a Japanese girls festival, in our city, and there was a girl sitting, like, right across from me, and she was in this beautiful kimono. Her hair was, like, all done up, and, like, the mom was sitting in front of me, and she was like, what was it? She was like, talking to her. It's like, oh, we're getting off at Union and stuff like that, right? And I was like, so I leaned in and I was like, hi, I'm so sorry, I'm an artist. Is it all right if I draw her? And she was like, oh yes, of course. So I was like, it's like I took out my brush pen and I, like, drew the little girl, and she, like, saw the drawing of her, and she was like, can you draw my mommy too? And I was like, yeah, of course. So I drew both of them. I gave them the sheet of paper, so I don't have it anymore. But I took a picture of it so I can just keep it for my own purposes. But I just really wanted to draw her because it's, like, it's very interesting. But, like, if you are drawing in public and you are drawing, like, kids, like, you have to ask the adults first. It's like, try not to draw, like, especially if they're, like, right in front of you, you've got to ask for parental permission. It's like, adults are usually fine. Like, you can just do whatever. But, like, you gotta be careful with children, obviously. Now we need to have Cricket have a Cricket companion named Goat. That's so funny. No, Cricket has a spell, Spirit Guardians, and I flavor their Spirit Guardians to either look like a version of their mother, or like a herd of sheep, because I think that it's cute. How are we, Fellowship? We are the herd. The Fellowship of the herd. Hello. Welcome in, though. The Fellowship is so funny, though. I love that. Yeah, flow is essential. Da-da-da. But yeah. Those are my public drawing tips. It's like, be prepared for a lot of questions and ask permission where you feel like you need to ask permission. You just gotta be careful a lot of the time. Sometimes if it's, like, at an airport and, like, you see somebody pass by for, like, half a second, it's like, just draw them, it doesn't matter. But, like, especially if you are gonna be sitting there and actively doing, like, a study of the person, like, you're gonna wanna ask sometimes. Especially if they're a kid. Yeah, no, it's cute. But yeah, I've never had anybody get mad at me before. I've got a lot of questions, though. Like, it is... art in public is like a performance art. Like, you get kind of used to it. It's why I'm so used to just drawing in front of people all the time. Like, it is like, I would draw in public all the time. Like, I was very, very used to it. And I remember back in high school, like, there would be, like, open house nights for our high school where, like, parents would come and they'd bring their kids, they'd ask about the programs, what was available. And to get, like, volunteer hours, because, like, volunteer hours are necessary in order to graduate, it was, like, I would, the head of the art department would always ask me to, like, sit in and be, like, the resident artist that would, like, sit there and, like, draw whatever the hell I wanted, like, digitally. They would project my artwork onto, like, a screen behind me, like, they would cast it with, like, an HDMI cable, and then it would, like, I would just have, like, my Cintiq, and I'd just be drawing whatever. And, like, parents would come up to me and they'd ask me questions. They'd ask me about, like, the program. They'd ask me how I'm drawing. And they'd ask me, like, what I like to draw and, like, what I like about the school and stuff like that. That would be, like... that was, like, 2 or 3 straight hours. Like, of just Q&A, kind of getting the same sort of questions over and over, and like that kind of thing. You get really used to it. Like, there was a point in my life where I had like a script almost. It was like, people would be like, how long have you been drawing for? What do you plan to do when you get older? Like, what do you like to draw? Or like, how did you learn to draw? That kind of thing. It was like, it's the same kind of like several questions. Like, it was like, whatever, frankly. But I'm so used to that kind of shit. Holy ego boost. No, for sure. Genuinely. And you know what? Honestly, it actually helps with confidence a ton. Like, getting used to, like, what do you call it? Getting used to answering questions, getting used to, like, being in the spotlight and people really, like, loving your artwork. It is a really good boost of confidence, frankly. My social battery would have been drained. I am a very social human. So I am very used to speaking with people for very long periods of time. How do you draw hair from the back? Hair from the back, hair from any angle, it is dependent on growth pattern. So if you are like hair from the front, hair from the back, it is all dependent on growth pattern. It's like, let's say, that's a really big ass neck. Hi, Frey! How are you? How are we doing? What's the energy? Good, that's good. But yeah, it's like, let's say that, like, if you have, like, a crown, right? You have the crown growing from here, then it's like you're gonna draw the hair coming from that specific point. And it's all gonna kind of go in from there, right? It's like you'll have, like, the hair kind of, like, spiraling out from that one sort of, like, point on the hair, right? Or it's like maybe you have, like, a part right here and the hair is kind of long, then it's like you just draw the hair from there. Like, you can't really say it's like this is how you draw all hair from the back, because it's like there are so many different hairstyles, but it is like the best way you can think of it is just like, what is the growth pattern of the hair? What color wheel should I be learning for digital art? RGB. Sister just made amazing zucchini pasta. Can she get a cheer? Absolutely. Fuck yes for zucchini pasta. What the hell is zucchini pasta? That sounds crazy. I don't normally like zucchini, but I'm like, I am willing to try it if it's in pasta form. I'm trying to doodle. Haven't been feeling like drawing lately. You should draw Vepper. Vepper trying boba. Bubble tea. You should have Vepper trying boba. What would her reactions to boba be? Vepper trying some kind of street food for the first time. And, like, letting her mind blown. You know? Vesper should try a corn dog. Vesper should try a corn dog. I feel like that would be very outside of her, her purview. She would be enamored. Vesper should try a funnel cake. You should draw her trying a bunch of foods. No pineapple. Absolutely no pineapple for her. Would the average medieval person choke on boba pearls? Probably. But yeah, that's sort of just like hair from an angle. What about a corn chip? Yeah, see how she feels about corn chips. Or corn chip. How would Vepper feel about mating corn? Or draw perhaps the average interaction between Vesper and Atroce. Would they get along? Or would they fight? Maybe they would fight like the Mies. Or they just throw a bunch of random shit at each other and it's very overstimulating. Okay, yes. Does anybody have any more questions? Anybody have anything else they would like to ask? Atroce would yap and she would smile and nod. J.C. life. I mean, like, my fiance made myself and him and all of our, like, our friends in Tomodachi Life. I have all of our D&D characters. If we don't have any more questions, I might call it early. Just because I have somewhere to be in not too much time. And frankly, the more time that I have to get ready, the better. What's the meaning of art? Whatever you make of it. Can you draw my persona and include a trap? I don't think I want to. Seems on clothing when to draw them and when it's okay to just, like, not. Frankly, when it's okay to just, like, not is, like, never. I mean, like, if you're drawing, like, a chibi or, like, a really simple illustration, then don't. But, like, if you're doing, like, a full body like this, like, it's a lot better to draw seam lines on clothing. It just looks a lot better. Because, like, seams, they just make your clothes feel more three-dimensional, right? Like, if you just have, like, a pair of pants, and it's, like, they're just, like, boring frickin' pants, and you're like, oh man, I don't know what to do to make these pants look better. Seam lines. Which, actually, this should, if these are jeans, then the seam line would do this magic. Seam line, and it makes it all look so much better. Right? It's like the seam lines just kind of make them feel more interesting, but it's like if you are like, if you're doing like for a style like this, I might not add like a bunch of seam lines, but for like my main bigger style, I would absolutely add seam lines and stuff. Because it just looks better. Like it just adds more visual interest, you know? But yeah. What's a good way or place to find new brushes? I'm struggling with branching away from just the default pen. I like Gumroad. Gumroad is a pretty good place to look for like fun new brushes. I look at like artwork that other people have done as well, and it's like sometimes I like to follow, like sometimes artists will like post like brushes that they make or brushes that they use, and like they offer them up on Gumroad or something, and it's like it's a good place to go. I also suggest just making your own brushes. Making your own brushes are really fun. It's like, because like in order to like find a new brush, like sometimes what it takes is knowing what kind of look you want, and it's like I really wanted a more textured but also really sharp look, so I moved towards using a chisel brush. Some people want that, like, smoother kind of rounded look, so they might use something like a hard round, or, like, Kyle's, like, Ultimate Manga is really good. I really love those. When in doubt, download Kyle brushes. He no longer works for Adobe, so you can get his brushes. Kyle T. Webster brushes, Devin L. Kurtz brushes, Lowish brushes. Those are good ones. Go and find them. They've got a good library. It is incredibly difficult to tell people how to make their own brushes because every program's way of making brushes is very different. Like Photoshop has a very complex, like, set of settings that you can do to make your own brushes. And it's like, they're really, really nice. I love making brushes in Photoshop. It's a lot of fun. But a lot of brushes kind of start by you creating the shape for the initial brush and then working from there. And again, it is like kind of knowing what you want. It's like, do you want it to be controlled by opacity? Do you want there to be scattering? Do you want, like, it is, like, every program is a little different. It's like, it's knowing what you want that brush to be. So for instance, I wanted to make a brush, made a little shake-ass Aisha's headstand brush once. That's awesome. But it's like, for me, it's like, once I really wanted a brush to make a crowd, because my ass is not drawing in a fucking crowd, so I just made a brush that, like, will scatter kind of these Starman humans around, and it's like, I can change the general color of the brush, and that will give me, like, a different, like, kind of, quote-unquote, overall hue to the crowd. A hue or a lightness or a darkness, right? And it was like, that was how I would do, like, big crowds and stuff, right? So it's like, that's what I wanted. I'm like, I wanted to kind of look like a bunch of, like, scattered humans, so I'm like, I made a brush look like a bunch of scattered humans. Or like, hang on, no, there's a better one. This one, it's like, I'm supposed to draw this one really small, but it kind of looks like glitter or, like, static noise. It's like, I needed, like, a glitter brush, so I did like that. There's lots of little fish, but I actually like the bigger fish one more. Like, I like the look of this one. Confetti, like, if I wanted to draw confetti in, I would, like, do this, right? And then, like, I could also, like, if I wanted the confetti to be color dynamics, like, if I wanted them to be more different hues all the time, like, I could do that as well. It's like, I can change that sort of, like, overall look, right? I'm like, I can alter that, you know, but it's like each, I also have this one for tiling, like, if I want to make, like, tiles, like, I do this too, like, but it's like, and I have them, like, kind of rotate a little bit each time, so the tiles aren't perfect, right? But that's like, there's, like, understanding what you want the brush for is the big thing, and then you have to work from there. But it is difficult because, like, every program is kind of different in how they handle making their brushes, so you have to sort of learn your own program's brush making capabilities. Yeah, 𝘧𝘰𝘪𝘯 brushes are very nice. You ever work on a long project and then distracted by other ideas? How do you approach this? Sometimes you just don't go back to it. And you kind of have to accept that that's how it is sometimes. I think, like, sometimes it's like some people are very, like, stuck on the idea of you have to finish everything, and that's not true. Sometimes you just, like, yes, if you are being paid to do it, you have to finish it, but, like, if you're not, if it's just a personal thing, there's nothing wrong with just not finishing it. Maybe a hot take, but I'm like, sometimes you just have big pieces that you just never finish, and, like, that's okay. Like, I think that it is completely okay to just have, like, unfinished work. Or maybe it just takes you longer. That's also okay, right? There's nothing wrong with just not completing something, I think. LOL. Yeah, Grayson. Grayson was like, I worked on that for like 2.5 years, and then, like, I got really burnt out on it, and I was like, maybe I'll return, and it has been maybe 5 years, you know? I mean, I finish everything. Yeah, I used to be like that. Not anymore. So different. You never know the original is the same concept. True. Yeah. I love it when that happens, though. It's so fun to like, have projects that are that long. Okay, though. Yeah. I think I am actually going to... I was going to cut it around here anyway. I'm going to cut it off here. 3.5 hours isn't too bad anyway. Like, 3 hours, 40 minutes, 3.5 hours. That's not too bad at all. I appreciate you all coming. I appreciate you all celebrating this milestone with me. It was pretty slay. 1,000 subscribers is really freaking sick. Thank you all for being here, and thank you all for choosing to join me and choosing to be part of this journey with me. I appreciate you all greatly. And appreciate you all completing the dono goal and going over the dono goal. That was very, very sweet of every single one of you. Whether you are just coming in to say hello or you actually did contribute, thank you to you. And I'm going to go and get scoliosis treatment. I appreciate it. I will be fixed one day. But yes, thank you all so much for joining. Thank you for being here. Exclamation point Discord to come and join the Discord. Come and hang out with us. Join the herd. Subscribe to join the herd. Join the Discord to join the herd. You will be one of us. Learn to pick up the pencil. Come and hang out. And yeah, thank you all. Yeah, we'll continue to work towards monetization. Yeah, the channel's not monetized yet. The last thing that we need is just watch hours. So that will be the final thing, the final milestone that we hit before the channel is monetized. But yes, thank you all so much for joining me today. And I will see you guys next week. Au revoir. Bye-bye.